Everybody else is not showing a camera.
Oh,
Show mine.
all righty. And we're live. Thank you for stopping by the Indie Dave Comics channel. I, of course, am your host, Indie Dave, the writer of the second most anticipated mutant frog comic on Indiegogo. Today I've got with me Mike Murphy, writer of The Gods Fear Me. I've got Cal, writer of Shinobi Sasquatch. And we've got Alex, who's the co-writer of, or is the, I'm sorry, the writer of Johnny's Law.
Yeah.
With the artist with Canalis, right?
By Canalis.
Oh, cool. Yeah. So we'll go ahead and we're gonna make this one. We'll only be on for an hour tonight, so that's why we call it the Indie Hour. And let's talk a little bit about Johnny's Law. Why don't you tell us about it?
Well, Johnny's Law is one of those. How could I say it? It's like a classic story as far as wrath, revenge, a man of intensity, and things like that. But to kind of summarize it or pitch it would be that Johnny Lau, Lau, is an elite assassin. And he has this code that he lives by, which is no women, no children. And there is a man who wants to, from his past, that wants to make him break that rule. But the audience needs to know why. And that in and of itself is the core of the story, because it's a through line to the next volume. So it's a mystery, but at the same time, we will see about it at the end of the video. But now at this point, this kid that the guy once killed, he has to protect him in a deadly Texas town. So, that's the gist of it.
Cool.
And there's one law that cannot be broken, and that's Johnny's Law.
All right. That sounds cool. That sounds like a movie.
Funny you should say that, actually, because this idea it's different. Like, it's been changed a little bit as I understood better how to write, but it was actually an idea for a movie in '97 that I had and never wrote it down, never did anything with it. But when I discovered Comicsgate, and it seemed like I could actually, do something in comics as I had tried before, but industry and all that, I didn't quite make it. But this was an opportunity, and so I just took it and reworked it, and then got it by on it, and it's just coming out awesome.
Great. Yeah, the Main Street industry isn't really set up for an independent storytelling.
Right. No, it's not. I mean, you have characters that are established already. I was just talking about this earlier. They have their lore and they have all this, and that's why, of course, the SJWs come in and they take over these characters, because they don't have to actually expose how the lack of creativity that they have. So they can't really make these multi-dimensional characters. So they have to take those and then just come in and, of course, do their thing and ruin it for everybody. So we're afforded this opportunity in this, Comicsgate, in this way that we're changing things to do that, to tell the kind of stories we want to tell and not be hindered by all that.
Yeah. It would be like if you wrote an independent story and then brought it to a movie studio, and you were like, all right, yeah, I've got this great story, bam, and they're like, that's great, but we need you to write the next Die Hard movie. That's all we're doing. Right. That's all we're doing is Die Hard right now. So you need to write the next Die Hard movie. Right. Or all we're doing is all we're doing is Star Wars. So all right, that's great that you wrote this story, but we're only doing Star Wars. So you have to write a Star Wars if you want to work for us.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
So that's where and they call it, I mean, we're calling it Comicsgate and everything, but really I like the term the new indie comics.
Right.
What really is going on.
Right, exactly. Yep.
When I was trying to get into screenwriting, I forget who it was, but some screenwriter was talking, he's a working screenwriter, talking about how he'd pitch movies to studios, and they'd be like, it's cool, but it's not like anything else we've got. And TV shows too. It's not like anything else we've got. It's like, wasn't that good then? Like, don't you want something? And like, no, we it's all safe bets now. It's all, that's why everything is regurgitated, because they're just not, they're playing it safe. Well, except for in comics, it's different. They're not playing it safe. They're destroying themselves.
Well, but I think that they believe that they're playing it safe.
Yeah.
But the way they come into this belief is because the majority of them, and I say this as in Hollywood mentality or this industry that's connected to it by way of superhero movies and things, they have a bias already, not politically necessarily in who they would vote for, because we know they have that, but a bias in political, as in, identity politics and, those types of ways, like the way they view the world, their own set of morals. And so if they want something that measures up to that, but that's why I was saying, then they have these established characters like DC or someone, and they're going to let you come in and take over these characters, and they think that they're doing the right thing because this is what they believe.
Right.
This is their beliefs. But what they end up doing is they put these people who really don't have talent, and they're taking over a world that they really don't understand.
Yeah.
And then it goes off the rails.
And they have this
inevitable.
They have this narcissistic streak of like, well, obviously, if we believe this, our entire audience believes it as well. They have to. Why wouldn't they?
Right. Yeah.
Well, it's that whole idea. If I like something, or if I don't like something, then nobody else is allowed to like that thing.
Right. Yeah. As a matter of fact, earlier I was watching this video, and it was E.T. the Entertainment Tonight, and they were talking about Baby Yoda, right? And they were talking about versus the Porgs, right? And then they were talking about Rey and how she basically, like, how she was or how she responds when people talk about Porgs in interviews. And then of course they're making excuses for her that, she gets asked this so many times, and then the interview that they show, she's like, what's the big deal? I don't get it. They're just birds, but she chooses Baby Yoda between the two. You see what I mean? And there's that difference where you have something that's surface, like a porg that was thrown in there, and then you have Baby Yoda, which has layers to it, and we have only seen a little bit of that, and then of course the adorable aspect and all that. So the guy who's talking to her, who's interviewing her, when she asks him what's the big deal, and he's like, well, they're porgs, and they're great. And I mean, he has absolutely nothing to back up why he feels this way, and that's the way they are. They take everything at surface, and it's like porgs, they're everything and all this other stuff. But when you actually challenge them, why do you think that? Why do you like it? They have nothing beyond that, because they're only looking for everyone to get together with them and say, hey, this is great. We all agree. Look at us, we're agreeing.
Are porgs they're in the Star Wars movie, right? Like one of the new
the Last Jedi.
Chewbacca was going to eat.
Yeah.
Should be.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because the Baby Yoda thing I know because I've been watching Mandalorian, but I the Star Wars movies I think I watched both of the new ones, but I've completely blocked them from my memory, so I don't remember what anything is in those.
I mean, they're the little like weird penguin rats.
Yeah, okay, I remember.
Yeah, like a little penguin bird type thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look, all this stuff is designed to sell toys, but the difference between the porgs and Baby Yoda is, the porgs kind of in a lot of ways represent everything that's wrong with The Last Jedi, where it's this surface level thing of the dude from Red Letter Media always says, consume product and then get ready to enjoy next products. The porgs is this surface level thing where at least while Baby Yoda is designed to make the audience go, "Oh, I want to buy that," like there is lore built into him, and it factors into the overall narrative of the Mandalorian.
Right.
Yeah. I haven't seen Mandalorian because I got I canceled my cable, and we do Netflix, and then we have Prime.
Yeah.
And then it's like, why did I cancel my cable if now I'm going to have 50 other subscription services?
Yeah, we did the same thing.
So
and then
we haven't done that yet. We might drop something because I do want to see that one because it's everybody's been saying it's so good.
I don't know if it's everywhere, but on PS4, there's like a free trial of Disney Plus. So that's what we did just to check and see, like, is this going to be worth it? And, other than Mandalorian, like even my 6-year-old daughter doesn't watch a whole lot on Disney Plus, so we're probably not going to keep it going after the season of Mandalorian's over.
Is it pretty much? Well, what if they go into a second season and it's really good?
Well, I'll do what I did with, on YouTube, like with the Cobra Kai. Like I did season 1.
Oh yeah.
Then
wait till they all drop.
Yeah, I did there was when season 1 came out, there was like a 1 month free trial or something. Yeah. So I did that. Yeah. I binged the whole friggin' show. It was freaking awesome. Mm-hmm. Then I just canceled, and then when season 2 came out, I've been watching. I watched the episodes one by one as they dropped them for free, and I think I finally gave in and just subscribed for like the last half of the season, and then canceled. Oh no! You know what I did? I used a new YouTube account. I just did another free trial because I don't want to give YouTube money.
Right.
Yeah. My laziness and cheap ass has finally paid off because they dropped that first season for free.
Yeah,
on YouTube now.
Dude, it's the most unwoke show going right now. It's so good.
I did see the first 2 or 3 episodes. I really liked it. I haven't gotten a chance to get back to it.
Oh man, it's great. Season 1 and 2 are both phenomenal, and man, the season 2 ends in such a way that you're just like, can I just go to sleep till season 3 comes out? Because it's really exactly
good. Yeah, I love when shows are like that. Like Mandalorian right now, it's this thing where now I'm back. I'm 44, so now I'm back in the movie theater, and I'm seeing Star Wars for the first time, and the music and everything, it takes me back there. And then I feel like this is like, in other words, what is it? The Thanos snap, all of the Last Jedi and all that is just Thanos snapped out of my mind when I'm watching Mandalorian. And I just feel like I'm seeing the series, the franchise start up all over again for the first time, Yeah. And that's really feeling like that. That's something that the other movies just cannot, they have not replicated at all.
No.
Yeah. The more rumors I hear about that new one, episode 9 coming out, the less I want to see it. I'll probably end up seeing it just because I saw the other 2, but it'll probably be a Redbox rant.
Yeah. I probably won't even do that. I'll probably read the Wikipedia page about it afterwards. That's what I did with, like, I was watching Walking Dead for the first few 2 or 3 seasons, or maybe 4, and then it just got so bleak that I just quit, and I'll go on and read the Wikipedia like summary of the season just to see where things are at. But yeah, it's probably not going to take any of my money.
Which one?
Walking Dead. The Walking Dead.
Oh yeah, and I don't know. I never got into it. I watched I think the first 2 episodes, and I never looked back after that.
I love horror. I love zombies. So I was pumped when it first came out, and I had never read the comics, and I was stoked. Like I actually remember the day the first episode dropped, and I was just like sitting there watching it, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is so gory, and it's on television. That's so cool." And I watched it, but like at one point, I don't want to spoil for anyone watching, but at one point, like,
hold on, I'm 8 seasons behind, so don't spoil.
Okay. At one point, like, a child dies, and you're like expecting them to not die and to get found, And I just like, man, do you guys need to be so relentlessly bleak? Like, is there going to be any like shadow, any like, like hope at all in this show? And it's not. And that's not that's not the kind of show it is, and that's fine. But like, for me, it was too much. But I still want to know what the characters are up to. So I'll check Wikipedia every now and then. But yeah,
yeah. I started watching Walking Dead. Every once in a while, I'll try to start it, and I'll get like 5 episodes in. And I like the show. I don't think it's a bad show or anything. But then, for whatever reason, I can never get past that 5th episode. And then I'm like, all right, I'm gonna try again. So I start over, and I get to that 5th episode, and it's like, all right, I'll watch some more, and I never get to it.
I mean, confession time. I write horror, and I can write some really, really dark, bleak horror, but I can't consume it in the same way that I write. Like I can't take what I dish out, I guess. That's one way to say it. So yeah, when it gets to a point where there's no hope at all, there's no levity, there's nothing to like relieve the the constant. Yeah.
There's no light at the end of the tunnel.
Right.
I mean, that's kind of the problem with the entire mission statement of The Walking Dead. His thing of like it's the zombie movie that never ends. Well, I mean, except it did in the books finally, but still, right. Like if it's the zombie movie that never ends, then all we're doing is kind of running out the clock, because if it ceases to be a zombie movie, then there's no story. So
right.
Yeah, that's true.
Matt Fowler says TV's really good right now. He mentions Mandalorian, Mr. Robot. Is that still going? Get Shorty. Is there a TV show for oh my gosh, Ray Donovan?
You know what? I put that up on the screen because I saw the first season of Get Shorty. And it's different from the movie. The main guy is like British, I think. The guy that's
yeah.
And it's really good. I mean, the story goes off completely different.
Isn't it originally based on a novel or something?
Yes, it's an Elmore Leonard novel.
Yeah.
I love Get Shorty. Be Cool. I love Be Cool. I definitely pick the TV show out now that I know it's worth checking out.
Yeah, it's a completely different. I mean, the premise is basically the same. He's like a gangster type guy that wants to go make movies.
Shylock.
But they go a completely different direction than the movie went.
Yeah.
They bring in and it's cool that there's a second season, I think. Right? Yeah. Is Matt Fowler? Is there a second season now? Because we've actually been waiting for that to drop on Prime. Because that was one of the ones we were watching on Prime. We got to the end. It was like, oh, this is so good. It was a really good one. It's funny and exciting, and it's got that crime kind of stuff going to it.
You know what else is good on? I haven't watched all of it yet, but Sneaky Pete was pretty good with Giovanni Ribisi.
I wanted to see that. It did look good.
Yeah, it's like created by Walter White, Bryan Cranston, I think, and he's he's in it. Like he's like I think he's the villain in it or something. But yeah, it was pretty good so far. I like Giovanni. He's really come into his own, as an actor. Early on, he was kind of all over the place, but I like him nowadays. Also, What We Do in the Shadows is really good. If you guys like comedy horror, it's more comedy than it is horror, but it's like watching it's like watching The Office or Parks and Rec, but mixed with I don't know, being human maybe, because that's like there's a vampire, werewolf, and a ghost that all live together, but it's just like a house, 3 vampires and an energy vampire, and they all live in this house together, and they're over the top, like they'll do like this hissing thing back. I mean, it's if you guys haven't checked it out yet, I think it's on Hulu, the first season, and they've greenlit a second season.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Definitely subscription I have to get.
Yeah, seriously. But check that out. It is so I found it by accident. Like they kept what's that?
No, that was me. I was turning the volume down.
Oh, they kept suggesting it to me on Hulu, and I finally was like, fine, I'll try it. And I was so happy I did. My whole family likes it. So yeah, check that out.
That is cool. All right. Let's see. While we're talking, why don't you tell us about Shinobi Sasquatch?
Shinobi Sasquatch is man, I just took a drink of hard liquor. Hold on.
You want me to show some art while
perfect timing? Oh yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. Put your art up.
I'm trying to share screen, but it doesn't seem to be working.
That does not surprise me.
I don't know how to do it on StreamYard, honestly.
Yeah, I think I guess it's been having technical issues.
I got so used to Hangouts. I'm like so lost with this new stuff.
Let's see.
Matt Fowler says there's 3 seasons of Get Shorty. At this point.
I saw the first season. I'm gonna have to see the second one.
That's great.
That's a really good show. That one, I really like that one.
Huh.
I'm trying to think here. Let him go ahead and talk. I'll see if I can make like a link or something. I don't know. I don't know if you'll be able to share your screen.
Yeah, I got the Johnny's Law up.
Yeah, do that first.
The thing is, all it is it's a coming soon page.
Yeah, it's just a coming soon page. It has a video, but we can't show the video.
Yeah, I can't show the video because it won't let me.
Can you share screen?
Yes,
if you
I can.
Share screen, then let him do his thing, and then I'll get like a link from Google Drive, and it'll have all the stuff in it, and you can just go through it.
All right, we'll go ahead. We'll get. Let's see.
Cal, you're up.
All right. Well, if you haven't heard, Shinobi Sasquatch is a master ninja werewolf Bigfoot. And in book 1, he's trying to thwart an evil cult scheme to enslave the Pacific Northwest for some reason. And it's going to be, it's full of action. It's full of horror and humor. Whenever I write something, it almost always has horror. I call them the 3 H's: horror, humor, and heart. And and I try to kind of there's like a sliding scale between the 3, but this book has all 3 in I think equal measures. And there's just a lot of funny moments. There's a lot of gory moments, and there's a strong Lovecraftian element if you're into that kind of thing, and just monsters and mayhem and magic, and I love alliteration, I guess. But yeah, it's awesome, man. I don't know if you guys have seen these pages coming out lately, but it's just looking a million times better than I could have ever expected. There's some art right there, but yeah, it's gonna be awesome. It's the first book in a series. Rob said on a stream the other day with Dan Fraga that it's gonna be 3 books. And we never talked about that. I'd like it to be more than that, but hey, whatever. If Rob is only cool with 3 books, then we're doing 3 books. But book 2 is already outlined. Very strong Japanese element in book 2. You'll see in this one, like on this page, there's like a little kodama, which is a Japanese tree spirit, and obviously, he's a ninja. He's trained by a Japanese ninja master. So there's that in book 1, but in book 2, there's like a very strong, there's like an Oni demon kind of thing in it. And anyway, yeah, it's going to be, book 2 is going to be so good. And then, so anyway, yeah, this is Shinobi Sasquatch. You're looking at it right now. I encourage you to, if you haven't pick up either Double Trouble or Double Trouble 2. Double Trouble is 2 books. Double Trouble 2 is a black and white and a color book. And the black and white book has this awesome new Halloween themed cover that we launched back in October. And holy crap, you guys were like over $55,000 on it.
Nice. That's great.
I'm honestly pinching myself every day. Like when I remember going on Edwin Boyette before the world broke, and I remember going on there and Edwin saying, "Man, I could see this being 50,000," and I remember like hearing him say that and thinking, "Yeah, you're like way too optimistic, buddy." But man, over 55,000, and I'm confident we'll hit 60K if we can keep in demand open long enough. And 60K will be good because at that point I think I'll get a decent paycheck from this.
Well, I'm glad we had you on tonight because this is the redistribute the backer stream.
It's the what?
So we want to make everybody equal on the stream, so we'll be taking some of them backers.
Oh, seriously. You got man. I mean, man.
No,
the
you're doing
socialist
awesome,
way to go. This is the socialist way to go.
Yeah.
No,
but no, 1,143 backers. That's an amazing number, really. It really is.
It's awesome. It's so humbling. I'm beyond grateful. I literally, and I know, and I mean, all respect where it goes. I know without Rob Willis, this would be, a much less successful book. I mean, just the concept is cool. I mean, people are digging the concept. It's a fun mashup. But without that art, we would not be where we are. Rob Willis is the next legendary comic book artist. I'm convinced of that.
Yeah, I mean, it's freaking just the art here. It's just amazing. It really is.
Beast,
and
man.
It gets better and better, man. Like the double page spread that just dropped. I don't think it's on the Indiegogo yet, but the double page spread is just it's evocative of. I mean, it calls back like double page spreads you've seen in the past in like X-Men and Image books and stuff, where it's just this like epic face off between two, the unstoppable force and the immovable object, whatever it is. Like you've got Shinobi Sasquatch, who's already gargantuan, looking up at this massive fire demon with a chimnea for a head, which you're looking at his head right now. It just, my gosh. And I don't want to spoil anything, but he does. Never mind. I'm not gonna say anything. I just had to revise the script a little bit.
Wait,
man,
you do.
What's that?
Clearly you do.
Oh yeah. So yeah. Anyway, he fights this fire demon, and you see it. You see the beginning of that on the double page spread he's doing. He just dropped. I think it was earlier today. He put a piece of art, which is from the new page he's working on, and it's a picture of Shinobi Sasquatch is holding up like a photograph, like an old like Polaroid or something of him and his ninja master, the guy who trained him.
Yeah,
and
I saw that.
My gosh, it's so endearing. Like it does so much more than words could do. Like I could write something, like I could do like if this was a short story or a novel or something, I could write it
or something.
Yeah, I could write that, but he instead, like he drew the photograph, and Shinobi Sasquatch is smiling. He's got this huge crap-eating grin on his face, and he's got this little tiny ninja master in front of him. I think Shinobi Sasquatch is holding a fishing pole in that picture, which is not in the script, but holy crap, it looks awesome. So anyway,
yeah, that to me is like that's like a Turtles moment.
Yeah. Yeah,
like what I mean. Like if they were talking about Splinter and just how they would light up talking about him.
Yeah,
as close as they are to him. And then with the whole what you said about the things that Rob added to it, I go through the same thing with Von Klaus just stepped in.
Oh, cool.
Did he? Hold on.
I go through this with Ibai because he will add things that aren't in the script necessarily, but man, I sit there and wish I would have thought of it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, this just it steps it up even more.
Yeah, a great artist will do that. I mean, every change that Rob makes, everything he adds, I'm over the moon about. He knows the characters so well. And I mean, he's 50% owner of the characters. So like he has creative rights, but so it's not like he's stepping on my toes or anything, but man, whenever he adds something, I'm just like, oh dude, I couldn't have written that any better. Good job. Hey Vaughn, what's up?
Hey guys, I have to say I agree with you. I really like what you said about the Turtles moment too, by the way. That's just very astute. That's very sharp. I agree. I think good artists they love the characters and they start to get to know them in their own mind, and then they start to add and contribute in their own meaningful way. I think that's what defines some of the better artists from the just kind of average ones.
Yeah.
For an example, by like when it came time to draw the ninjas, because no one's ever asked him to do that before. And I didn't know that. So when he told me that, I was just like, this is great. But when he drew them, I had given him, like something that I guess a spark to go off of, which is like, the Frank Miller Wolverine story with the hand and all that, just to kind of have that idea. So he didn't do it exactly like that, but then he added these freaking vests with the utility pouches on it. And I was just like, I never even thought about that, and it looks so cool and it's so perfect. And then you'll see in the artwork, it's definitely just crazy the way that he thought about doing things. And I was just like, dang. But he is the type of person that will take the script, he will interpret it, and then he will sometimes truncate things in a way that still makes sense and visually. And then I even learned from him in that way, because I realized, okay, wait a minute, I could have actually done it in a little bit less, there's a way that I didn't quite picture it the way that he did, and then that just adds to me, so that when we work on the second volume, I'll pick up his shorthand,
Yeah. Hey, since we're on the subject of artists doing kind of adding or doing their own thing, this has happened twice lately, so I want to bring this up. So Vaughn, were you in the call with Malin and Mark the other day when we were talking about Render Contender adding like turning a single page into a double page spread?
No, I know something happened with a double pager on your story.
Yeah, so in Graveyard Shift, the story I wrote for Graveyard Shift, Mike Artist, who's awesome, Render Contender, he did a double page spread instead of a single page, it's a phenomenal spread and I love it. But it took up 2 pages instead of 1, and it's on an odd to even,
which you can't do. That's on a turn, right?
Which you can't do, and so it's no big deal. They're adding like a page, before it, like a page of something else, something after. It's fine. It can always be fixed. No big deal. But then, I was talking to Rob the other day, and you guys. I'm sure you guys have seen the double page spread that he just posted recently. That is on. He did the same thing. He changed the single. He actually turned 2 pages into a double page spread, but an odd and even page. So not only does it not work, but it throws off the page turns for the entire book. And so I went in and I added 2 pages the other day. I added a page before it, and then after it, I was able to break up some of the a page after it. Like I was able to break up what we had on 1 page into 2 pages, and actually kind of draw out the action for that demon when he fights the fire demon. So it actually turned out really well. Right. But just funny, we want artists to kind of have a little bit of rope, but sometimes they'll end up hanging you with it. You have to kind of cut yourself out of it.
They're wild, man. They're like wild horses. You have to know when to tame those beauties, and then when to just let them run. Let them go crazy. I want my artist to feel comfortable and he can just go nuts, but I want him to know there is a very you can go nuts, but at that fence post there, you go further, Bessie. I try to keep him. I try to keep him happy and sprawling the field. But there's a fence. I admit it, just a fence.
Are you getting any of that from Marco? What's Marco doing to add to the book?
Marco's great. Let's see. Where do I begin? I think Marco is why Heidi's is so cute.
Oh yeah.
I think Marco understood that Heidi, her glasses essentially become her eyes. So he does these slight size changes or shape changes to glasses to help enhance her emotion.
That's cool.
Or just how crazy looking she is. Cause I like how just wild looking she is without even having facial features, with those big oversized, anime eyes almost. It's really fun. but he did her bandages in a way, design-wise, a little bit differently than the character design I did. And what that did was it enhanced her design and her cuteness in a clever way that's easy for him to draw. So that was a really great contribution. When I saw that, I was just like, this is why I hired you.
Yeah.
Let's see, what else is he added? Go ahead.
I wanted to say just that I see, and you know how I said about the turtle moment and all that. This is an observation I have about Dr. Black and gosh, I just forgot her name, Heidi. And Heidi is that they seem like a more well-adjusted version of Joker and Harley.
Oh, interesting. See, I never thought of that.
But that's what they seem like to me.
Yeah.
Except that
the madman and his mad woman type thing.
Yeah, exactly. But more of a they like for Harley and Joker, there's always words, there's always talking, but it seems as if, and I haven't read the book or anything, he hasn't given me a preview or nothing, but it seems as if they have that opposite way where they don't have to always say something to each other.
Yeah.
You know, they can have unspoken moments and they just know, you know, they're in tune with each other enough to know that. And I would believe that would come from, you know, being a doctor and doing surgery and all these things where sometimes you don't have you're not afforded the ability to always say something. You kind of have to have someone who has that snap that just knows that is shadowing you, you know?
Yeah, good point. Yeah. And I can say, as someone who's read the full script of Monster MD and the crossover book with Shinobi Sasquatch, those Wyatt and Heidi have some of the best chemistry I've seen, period, Vaughn. Yeah. So it's like I was saying earlier before you hopped on, I said, whenever I write, I always try to put the 3 H's: horror, humor, and heart. You know, the horror and humor are important to me because I love those genres, but heart, I mean, a story dies without it. And my gosh, Monster MD has heart in spades. So, dude, I mean, seriously, just it's so good.
Am I pretty much
guessing
right here? Or,
yes.
You know, okay.
Absolutely.
Well, here's what I would say. Wyatt and Heidi is. I tried to make it the type of romance I wanted to have, where it was where you are in tune with each other, like you described. And I wanted it, but I wanted it to have tension. So like when you first see them in the story, they're not a couple. Right. And yet their chemistry was so good, everyone can just already guess. So it's like, okay, well, you're right, but just read the story and then you'll see how it happens. And I think that's gonna make you really happy. I think Wyatt has, while he's a mad doctor in a sense, I try to ground him in a little dab of heroism. Like he's kind of the scummy hero. So, you know,
he's got a Constantine, like a John Constantine,
a
little bit.
About to say that.
Yeah. He knows how to have a sense of humor and it's dark, but he has his broody moments too. Yeah, I like that type of character because I feel like the clown can't always be the clown. It just gets boring.
Well, from what I know of of his origin, you know, he's kind of broken. You know, he seems like he's a guy who's, you know, who's kind of lost his confidence, you know, and direction. So she's the person that tells him, you know, this is where you are and you should just walk this line, you know, as you figure it out, you know. And it makes me think about, like, when I was talking about Harley, the reason why that comes to mind too is because of that the series that they just released on DC Universe, and I didn't like it, you know. I mean, it was vulgarity for the sake of vulgarity, and there is such a very base character, you know, arc that seems to be coming even just through the first episode, whereas the way that I would have approached it is, instead of her, you know, constantly being a jerk to everybody, she is this talkative person right? And who's always boisterous and always out there. Well, she lives in a delusion of this partnership with her and Joker, which they mentioned, but they should have shown us this delusion, a montage of that. And then whenever he basically shows, like, she really sees him just for that moment, as sees the relationship as what it really is. And when he calls her a psychic, then from that moment on, I feel like it would have been a bold move, but a good storytelling move to make her silent, to make her not want to engage with anyone. And then Poison Ivy is the only one that sort of gets her attention, and then busts her out to show her that there is life outside of Joker. You know what I mean? And to me, that's
real.
That's the way.
Real character arc. You described a real character arc,
and that's an emotional.
They're trying to turn. Right. Well, see, what's happening is, in general, and it's part of why we're making the books we're making, is because entertainment has become obsessed with this bad idea cooked up on a college campus by a pseudo intellectual that is called women on screen need to represent something, so they end up becoming more of a representation to communicate very specific messaging versus a character. Character is forgotten. So that you start, what ends up happening when you do that? Well, it's kind of like trying to run a car without an engine. Like, it doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't work. It doesn't, there's no arc for you to enjoy so that you can get into the character and appreciate them by the end. And that's why a lot of us miss the old movies. It's not even about nostalgia for me at this point. It's like just competent, fun writing, and they worked with little budgets and still made cool things happen. I mean, it's awesome that we're kind of getting to do this with comics now, guys.
Like what you said about character, what they end up doing, what tends to happen is they start off hating what they perceive as just women being, the one, I can't remember what it's called in storytelling, where they just have the woman just there just so that they could save her or whatever the case is. But they're so afraid of, or rather they were so against being a caricature, that all that they ended up doing was becoming the thing that they hated. So now they are this caricature of what they perceive themselves to be, instead of being an actual character objectively who has faults, who has things that are conflicting inside of them, and then really showing us, instead of,
well put.
Instead of showing it and not just that's what they're doing. They're telling us. They're not just showing us. And that's what we need, is to be shown these things, and not just be told, hey, look at me, this is what you should think about me.
Right. The problem with that whole Harley show is, I mean, it to the point of, like, they have to represent something. Like, Harley doesn't even represent what they're trying to make her represent in the context of that show. Like,
right.
Ooh,
they're just doing this. They're just doing this, like, like forced language yes queen thing with her, and like, that's
oh god,
not Harley, and B, there's no audience for that. Like, it's issue.
They want her to be a feminist icon, and in doing so, they're like, "Hey, fellow kids, F this and F that. Am I right? Trademark."
Yeah, exactly. And they're doing, like, all of the points that Zach makes in his videos, and the different really these caricatures of the oh so random, the Slay Queen, we're all best friends, that type of thing. And they're just doing it over and over again. So when they get mad at us for what we say about it, they're just perpetuating it more. They're just giving
imagine
more proof.
Imagine being so horrible to your own gender that feminists, who usually are just horrible about everything, are having to put in messaging to tell you to try to be friends more often.
Right.
Stop hating each other.
Yes, because they know what we're saying.
That's not
how it works. You can't force.
Women are never gonna be friends like they should be with each other. It's always gonna be like just one hair away from just destroying each other socially.
And it is so false. It's such a false narrative because yes, there are women who are like lifelong best friends and all that, but women and the way that they consider themselves friends and best friends is not it's not like how guys would, They will think evil things about each other, and they will secretly loathe each other or be jealous of each other, but they will sit there and cry and tell each other how much of sisterhood they are and all that. I grew up in a family with
my sister traveling pants
with like 8 kids, and it was only me and one other kid that were boys, and the rest were all girls. So I've seen them and how they get along with each other, even in adulthood, so
I like women. Like I'm actually really, really like women, like too much. Like I've been with a lot of women, and right now it's kind of weird because for a guy like me, like I've stayed away from them to make these comic books for everyone to work my ass off on it. And
it's the other way around, right?
This is what?
It's you make comic books so the women stay away from you.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, to be honest, here's the funny thing. If I ever get on like the dating apps and all that garbage that like the sludge like on the bottom of the barrel. Okay, so like those chicks, I'll just be like, they'll be like, "What do you do?" And I'll be like, "I write comics." Like I just want to like get it out of the way right away because it's like either you can hang with that or you can't.
Yeah,
and I'm okay. I'm okay either way. I don't give a damn. But that's just who I am. That's where I'm at. I'm not like weird or apologetic about it. I don't feel like a dork. I feel like what I'm doing is like the coolest thing in the world.
Yeah.
And they're the ones missing out. They wish they were getting to have this much fun creating stuff. I mean, I will put off jerking off to write my comic book scripts. That's a big deal.
Okay.
That's a priority right there.
That's sacrificing pleasure.
Here's the thing about that is that they don't even have to like they don't have to enjoy it, or in other words, they don't have to say, "Oh, I love comics." They don't have to necessarily be that way. It helps, but that they are okay with it and that they don't see it as any big deal, and they support you, and they're just like, "Oh, this is what you love." And
and depending on how they are, I might not need their criticism either. Like I know a lot of people are like, "Please read this and let me know." Yeah. I've matured past that. I don't give a shit what my girlfriend thinks about. No, I do. I want her to like it. I do want her to like it. But if you're in a relationship, my recommendation is be careful make sure you can work on creative endeavors together. Because I've tried that with girlfriends in the past, and like it can either work or like it could explode. Like she tried to dictate what I wrote and would tell me, and if we had conflicting ideas, she would be like, "Your idea's stupid. Mine's better. Mine's a crowd pleaser, and you just don't understand that." She turned into this weird passive aggressive demon, and I was just like, "Good thing this happened." Because
that's not support.
Because we're not dating anymore. Like I saw a new side to her, and I was like, if you can't team up with your wife, you know what I mean? It's not gonna work. Like you guys have to be like a super team to get life done, because life's gonna whoop your ass. If they're gonna like turn on you and and after we broke up, it was hilarious. She's like, "So you giving me a producer cred or what? I want to be able to brag about having." No, not a producer cred. She wanted an editing credit.
Oh, really?
And I was like, "Bitch, you didn't edit shit. Get out of here."
Yeah.
I was like, "You did not help me edit this book." I edited it myself after we broke up. I launched my campaign we broke up right before I launched. And I was like, I'm going to do that. I was like, it's going to happen. Like, I'm going to do this. Like, I'm going to make this the best campaign ever. Like, I put my heart and soul into this. And and she would call me later, like, "Am I going to get that editing credit?" And I'm like,
"Really?
I edited it myself after we broke up. And I had Brandon edit it, who's an incredible editor. And then even now, I'm still going to do an editing pass on as we do the lettering. Like, she didn't even change anything on a computer once. She just kind of yelled at me what to do. I was like, "There's no way, man. Piss off.
I saw your breakup when it happened. I remember she walked away from you and you just started saying, babe, 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 like a whole bunch of times. You know that movie that you were in, Hot Rod?
What is it?
That movie, Hot Rod, that you were in?
What? I didn't see Hot Rod. Babe,
you're not Will Arnett?
No.
Oh, okay. My bad.
Babe. Does that sound like Will?
Yeah.
Hi, Michael.
If you haven't seen that, it's funny. He just, because that's what they say, right? But they say it like once or twice.
Babe.
But he's just going like for like 30 seconds saying it, and then they just cut, after that. But it's a hilarious thing. And he's just like, he's going crazy.
He's such a weirdo, man, but I love him.
Yeah.
He's awesome.
Yeah.
Anyway, but yeah, it's, I recommend working with an editor too, and don't use your girlfriend or wife, whatever. That's a tricky situation. Like, things can get tense, and you guys don't need that in your relationship. That's all I'm saying.
I use my
unless your wife is an amazing editor.
Yeah, I use my wife as a beta reader. Like, she read my first novel, gave me really great feedback. She reads a lot of my scripts and stuff.
Good teamwork.
But I don't credit her as an editor. She's a beta reader. And I think that keeps things a little bit smooth,
Wow, if only I knew this term.
In light of recent situations, I think that you should also, if things go south, you should make sure that before they leave, that you go and look at all the artwork and make sure that it's still there, because you don't want like years to go by and for her to be selling your Dark Knight Return pages, on eBay somewhere. Your unreleased pages. Yeah.
She got nothing.
I feel like.
Did you guys hear about that though? Varley,
Lynn Varley. Yeah.
Lynn Varley. She, with Frank Miller, and she had those pages.
Oh man, no.
She had pages that weren't used, and she was selling them, I think, on eBay or something like that.
Now he's suing her.
And I think one of them was one that that Zach likes a lot, that he found as an image online. So.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Weird.
Did you get that link for the artwork?
Where'd you send it?
I sent it in the private chat.
Hold on, I probably overlooked it. Oh, there it is.
Yeah, I would think you did.
Yeah.
We're almost an hour, so might as well get to that artwork,
right?
Yeah, dude, this is fun. I love hanging out with you guys. This is great.
Yeah, it is awesome.
Grape nuts are neither grapes nor nuts. Discuss.
I'm on page 95 of my next project, you guys.
Awesome.
I just started writing like a demon, and there's still some more scenes to go, so it's gonna be kind of a big boy like Monster MD again. But I don't know, man. Am I crazy? Yes. But am I gonna?
You're aiming for?
I was trying to get under 100, and I had to add this character that I liked too much, and her whole fight with our lead, and it's so cool. She's a teenage like sniper prodigy, kind of hottie, who has these mutated eyes that let her scope in on things, and like kind of an uncanny, creepy way. And you find out her quick little backstory. I was able to do her backstory in just one page with 5 panels, just like one of those quickie, maybe like a quickie anime style, like, and this is what happened, her mom got raped, horrible shit. This is a dark book. Yeah. Good times. But no, that really does happen. Her mom got raped. Her mom got raped by guys who are actually juiced up on the stuff our hero uses too, and it made a mutant sniper baby that comes back to kill the guy who makes those super juices, the hero. And so in a weird way, he's kind of her dad, kind of.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's weird, but yeah, it's a dark. It's dark. It's awesome. I'm really gritting up a golden age superhero, and not just for the sake of it though. Like, I know everyone's like, do the gritty version. No, it's because I don't feel like this character has been done right. I don't feel like he's been done right, and he hasn't been made cool enough. So like, this is my attempt to make him, like a character people would want to read again. You know what I mean? Like pull him out of the ashes, even though I set most of the book in ashes. Maybe that was symbolic.
I know there's talk of a project that I want to do, and with somebody here in this panel here, and maybe this will happen at some point. I'll give you a hint as to who he is. He's Will Arnett.
Hello, Michael.
Yeah. Well, at some point when he's ready.
Just say I've made a huge mistake.
Or come on. I've made a huge mistake.
All right. We get some of the art here up for Johnny's Law.
Looks great.
Oh, that looks cool.
Yeah, you can't just say Johnny's Law. You got to say Johnny's Law.
Yeah, Johnny's Law.
There you
There's
go.
no law.
I think Vaughn's got the best voice for that.
Oh, the tagline is close to that. It's there's one law that can never be broken. Johnny's
Law. Ooh, that's cool.
And that's page 2 right there.
Cool. I love the mood created by those like neon signs like blazing in from outside. Or is that just like or did you just go like realistic moonlight or like cartoonish moonlight? Or is
no, that's there's something out there. I don't know if
it feels like California or like like you know that movie Drive. Movie Drive. It's like that.
Yeah, okay.
Which is cool. That's a cool aesthetic.
Yeah, this is my first time doing color work, and I was Ibai has a thing that he does with his work when he colors it, and he does a real grainy style. So I wanted to kind of capture that here, and in these pages when I color them, and kind of try to give. He's doing a really stylized style here. He said he's trying to get his Sean Gordon Murphy on this book, and so I'm trying to kind of give somewhat of a color look like that, but then kind of give it the body, the forms and the masses of the muscles and stuff a little more, volume and depth.
I gotta say something. I've been looking at this guy's pages for a while. I mean, ever since Iron Sights, and I have been furious that nobody's coloring his stuff. Like everyone's doing these black and white versions.
Yep.
And like, don't get me wrong, I get it because the black and white is cool and has its own charm. And maybe it works for your book. I get that too. But I've just been wanting to see his art in color.
Me too.
And I finally do. And it's really cool.
Here's the thing. The Turtles moment, the Harley and everything with Heidi. And now the coloring of Abai's work, that is me like thinking about that. Cause at first, he was like, well, I could do the half tones, zip tones and all that. And I love when he does that. I love how it looks. But and I'm like, Turtles, like the original artwork, those types of indie type of underground looks. I love that. But I said, you know what? I think we need to see his work in color like this, and I think that's going to provide another draw for him that he hasn't had up till this point. So that's why I'm trying to do this and give it something, give it that the zooms and the wham whams on it.
It's awesome, man. Dylan goes electric.
Let me tell you a little bit about my experience with Ibai. I did a little 4-page, kind of Twilight Zone horror story, and I got Ibai to draw it. And he was working on Iron Sights at the time, and I was like, you know what? No rush. Work on that book, and when you get a chance, I'll pay you for every page you do. And he did my 4 pages, or he did like 3 of the pages, and then he finished Iron Sights, and he's like, you know what? I'm starting over. He's like, I think I've gotten so much better, and I really need to step it up. I really need to step up. And he redid the 3 pages and did that 4 page. Yeah. He's a cool dude.
He's for real.
He's not just amazing as far as artwork. He's just the kind of dedication he has, the kind of heart he has for what he's doing. That's one of the reasons why we clicked, because we agreed. We had the same ideals, if you want to call them comic skate ideals, whatever, but also the same type of movies, gun fu type stuff, John Woo, all of that. And he was just loving the concept here and the fact that he could do ninjas and all this other stuff that he's been able to do.
That's great, man. Any other? Let's see some more pages here.
Yeah, there's a lot more.
Is there more? Show me some more.
The rest are all in black and white, haven't been colored yet, right?
Right. So that's page 3 right there.
By ninjas.
Dude,
that's cool.
I love that. Man, this guy's good. He gets better and better. You can tell every book. It's so cool. I love it. It's turning. I mean, I really like his dedication, man.
He improves by pages because he sent me one of the pages, right? and it kind of bugged me because I didn't want to make him go back, but the model was, you could still tell it was Johnny, but then it was even better than the model page, a few pages back. And so I was like, well, you might have to just kind of adjust it a little bit, because I don't really want to have you go back and redo everything again. You know what I mean? Because that would just that would slow us down, and it would kind of suck to ask him to do that. So
I mean, the composition here is great, and he did it with a bunch of ninjas. Like he used the ninjas as a. Yeah. It's got a full zigzag. They zigzag like hand to hand down the page. And they go across the hero, and then he looks small, and he's in this, because of the way he framed him in the window, he's in this small tight box that kind of adds to the tension. And it's so good. It's like he's becoming a real deal artist. It's really awesome.
I had given him the prompt. I told him about the hand, and the Wolverine story and all that, and then I said, this is. I want them scaling the outside of the wall coming in, you know what I mean? And then now we know something, it's about to go down like real quick after this. And so the next page, if you go to the next page, you can see that's the next page after. So, there's that whole pause and him and then them, and they're just knives out, ready to go, And I just,
that's cool.
Yeah. He just really went for it, and you can see like the vests, in the pockets and stuff. I'm like, oh, this is so awesome.
Man, you know what I would like to see? I want to see his version of G.I. Joe.
That's what he told me. He said when he designed the vests and stuff like that, he says, you have to understand, I'm a really big G.I. Joe fan, just like Zach is. So that's why I added stuff like that, to give it, that different look. And it gives it sort of like, what I prompted him with, but it also gives a cool like 80s cartoon version of a ninja, but with G.I. Joe, like all mixed. It's great. It's awesome.
It's great, man. I love that 80s sensibility for style and design. It really appeals to me.
Yep.
I just grew up in it. I love it.
All right, you can go to the next one.
Pop. Sweet fight. It reminds me of just a good action movie that you catch like on TV, and you're like, I'm done sticking with this tonight.
Yeah, and then you're just like, wait, why haven't I heard of this before? You know what I mean? Like, how did I miss this?
Yeah.
So, and because I'm 44, so I grew up in the 80s, and then I went through the whole Billy Blanks, Jeff Wincott, all of the guys, A Perfect Weapon, and all those types of movies. And so not just that, but the John Woo stuff. So and even before that, Shaw Brothers, and so that's yes, exactly, Hard Boiled.
I love them, Shaw Brothers. I love that stuff.
Yeah, so that's what I wanted to kind of put in here. I didn't want to think about, well, what would such and such like, or whatever. I wanted to put what I felt like my audience for this book would want to see. You know what I mean? So
Cool. I could hear the 80s synths playing on this page.
Yeah.
Dum, 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 dum. All right. Oh, sweet. Yeah, he needs to draw G.I. Joe. IDW needs to call him up. It's ridiculous.
Honestly,
if he gets to draw G.I. Joe, I bet that would be a dream for him.
Yeah.
The big companies would do they would be so smart to just fire so many of their diversity hires and just hire us. Like hire you, Vaughn. I mean, seriously, like this is great. I would pick up a G.I. Joe book that looked like this. I won't pick up what they've got right now, though.
You know what they do? They hire these people they hire these people that don't love the property and don't love the genre.
Yeah.
Right.
And so you can those things working against the book.
Yeah, right. Exactly. One of the things I love go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. Okay, well, I just watched a great doc, highly recommended on Amazon Prime. It's about 2000 AD, starting up in the 70s in England, and how they made these high-octane, super violent, over-the-top, crazy sci-fi comics for boys. It was about boys, and the kids went nuts, and they flew off the shelves. They exploded, and some of the best writers we've ever known in comics have passed through 2000 AD. And they created Judge Dredd. But they're playing punk music throughout the doc. They're talking about how they were all just a bunch of young punks, like who just wanted to go against what was popular at the time and give people something cool that they wanted. And it's just the parallels between what we're doing and what they did are striking. Let me just say that.
I've been saying that for months. Like the parallels between Future Shock and what they did and like Comicsgate, like it's almost one to one.
And that gives me so much hope for the future, guys, because in a way, no matter if you love us or hate us, we're still keeping the rebellious spirit of comics alive. And that's something they cannot deny.
Exactly. Yeah. Yes. Because we're taking chances and doing things that we because we know that the audience that we have behind us has for the majority have grown up the same way that we did and seen the same movies and comics and cartoons and all that. So now we know exactly what they want to see, but because we love it too. So we're just gonna we're brimming with ideas. There's another book Ibai and I are gonna do that's called Daddy, and it's gonna involve like this guy becomes a technomancer through one of those studies that people sign up for.
Yeah.
And so once they realize what he's capable of doing, of course they want that. So then that sets off the whole thing. You're going to have a tension of what is going to drive him. And I don't even go into too much, but let's just say, when you can make use spare things around you and make a chopper. I mean, and I'm talking about a hog, like a motorcycle, and that's what you can ride around on, and cyborgs and all that.
Have you heard of the RPG Rifts?
I've heard of it, never played it though.
So in Rifts, there's a class. Rifts is a tabletop RPG like Dungeons and Dragons, but it's set in the future after an apocalypse, and there's these magic ley lines that are all over the planet. That's your background, but there's a class that can do that crap, dude. And it's what you're talking about reminds me so much of that game. It's my favorite RPG. So that's awesome. Yeah, I love that crap, man. That's awesome.
Go back one page. I wanted to know something. Or was it on this page? No, it's this page. The one that you were just at, that one right there. Okay, I love the zip line thing.
Yeah,
it's really like, because of the way that I wrote it, it's slightly different, but it just has the movement and the action that I wanted to convey. But one of the subtle things that I like is the next panel where the ninja is shutting the patio door. And I love it because you remember, right? Those movies, the moonlight's coming through. They shut the door real slowly, but you can hear it, so they should be able to hear it, but of course they don't, right? And in this case, she's listening to headphones, so she doesn't hear it. And then the silent thing that's happening on the outside of the door, which is Johnny, cracking the dude's neck, you know, and that is just, I don't know. It's just like that little, and the way that he drew it, it just, I was so,
nice moment.
I was so excited when I saw that. But the next page
That's cool.
is still going to be edited because that third panel, the middle one, her head's kind of wonky in the neck and everything. And so I told him I would show him kind of a little bit how I wanted it to look, and then he could re-edit it and do it, because I can draw myself. But the thing is, when I decided to do a book, you know, I wasn't quite confident in whether I could do the book myself. So I, you know, got to buy. But, you know, I will, you may see things in the book when it's done, and there may be something slightly redrawn or lines here and there or whatever, and you'd never know that it was me, you know, because I can see the way he draws, and I will kind of mimic it, you know, in a way that you won't be able to know. But that's because he already does so much, and he's got so much on his plate that, you know, I don't want him to slow down too much. So if it's something I know that's, you know, minor that I could do, you know, then I'll do it. Because that first colored page, the page 1, he's actually was a little taller, so the scaling wasn't right. And since I took a class in perspective, and it's animation perspective at that, which is makes you freaking crazy, you know, every time you see something, it's not right, you know. But I had to scale him down just a little bit because he was a little too tall, and I was like, he's like 2 inches from the ceiling of the closet, you know, the armory, you know. So I had to make that a little adjustment. But, you know, I'll do things like that, and that to me, I love about him, because I know that some artists can be very, you know, picky. But I tell him, if you don't like it, then just tell me, you know, we can always undo it and change it or whatever, you know. But so far, everything's been cool. And it's really very minor stuff that I have to go back in and say, that line doesn't belong there, you know, or whatever.
Yeah.
But there's another folder I gave you, and that is another nice little juicy morsel.
Let me get out of here. Let's see. Let's go back a page. Hope I'm not doxing nothing.
Now this is a 10-page prequel that I'm doing. That's going to be digital. It's going to be free. It's going to be drawn. It's being drawn by Cesar Feliciano from El Guapo Comics.
Cool.
Chongo the Broken Veil and the Red Tin. And I wanted to do something that I could give away, but that would also serve as a way of sort of giving you a little extra of the story of his backstory, and kind of like pointing you in the direction of the main book. And it was actually way more difficult to write that than it was to write the main book, because I limited myself to 10 pages. And I was like, man, you know, and it took me like 2 weeks to even get the prompt in my head right to go. And when I started writing, I still went back to Spike Valentine, who's my editor. And he was like, nope, that's not right. Nope, do it again.
Oh, how is Spike? I haven't even heard from Spike in forever. Like,
well, because, you know, he's like, you know, they get booted off of Twitter, you know, and you know, he's still booted off of
so
Twitter.
Not cool.
And but you know, he's doing great, and he's got all kinds of stuff going on, and he's got like a preview thing that he's gonna do, I think. And he is, you know, it's a little favor for a favor. So I'm gonna color that for him. But he just kept telling me, and that's what I love about him. He was like, you know, I mean, you can do what you want, but I don't think that works. You know, that, you know, you gotta, and he kept trying to explain to me what the prequel really should be. Like, what is a prequel really? And so once I got it, I did it, and he loved it. He was like, oh my gosh. He was like, this is perfect. And the way that it ends and how it leads you into the next story, and even how do you call it, points you to one of the characters from the main book. You know, it was perfect because it was a throwaway type of a line, but it just works, you know. So once I knew how to write it right, once I knew what I was writing, it was great because he didn't really have to edit very much at that point. He was like, it's pretty much good. This is a sketch that Caesar did the other day, gearing up for doing it. The first page, which is the first one where he's holding the head up, and those guys there in that picture, they're called the Trust, and this is in L.A. Johnny, started off in gangbang culture, and then his father told him, you got to do something else. You got to get away from this. So he went to the Marines, and then he was like this prodigy, came back and just kind of fell back into the life, and is running all these contracts for the Trust, who are the capos that are, part of what's called the West Side Cartel. And so there's one main guy who rules it called the Don, but you're not going to see him in this one, maybe later in another book or something, but that's where it all starts off. And he showed me that page. That was the first one he did, and I was just like, dude, this is gonna be off the chain.
Sweet.
That's great, man.
Yeah.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
And I was like telling, I had been talking to Caesar, and we clicked just like I did with Abai, and I couldn't believe it that I was getting him to work on it, because I was like, man, this is such two different styles, but they're still kind of graphic and stylized, and I feel like they really, complement each other. So what I plan to do is do a stretch goal where if we hit that stretch goal, then we'll print the prequel in with the main story, and it'll be in front of the prequel, and just add more pages to the book.
Nice.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, but it'll be a fully colored preview, and it'll be digital, and it'll be the full 10-page story. So,
Cool. That's cool. What, is there a campaign coming for this? I don't remember if you.
Yes, right now I just have the Indiegogo pre-launch page.
Pre-launch page? Okay.
Yeah, and I
gotta get it. I gotta get it on this. This looks like it's gonna be a really good one. Like,
yeah, it has the email sign up on the page and everything. So,
hey, what date does it go live?
Well, I was planning on like February or March of 2020.
Cool.
Nice.
But
right, man.
Like, I mean, they're two different styles, so it doesn't really matter. And they're each artist is good in their own right. But Liam has that book Xenotype that's coming out in early 2020, and I was like, do you happen to have a launch date yet? Because I don't really want to compete with that,
Yeah.
Because it looks like it's going to be really, really good. So how it is, like blockbuster movies.
Well, when I launched Monster MD, I didn't know this was happening, but literally, I think almost exactly an hour before I launched, Doug Tenopple and Elliot launched Doom Kicker, and I was just like, dude, I'm screwed.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you know what? Maybe it's not.
But
you weren't.
It wasn't. It wasn't a big deal. Like I made a lot of money, and people were really pumped. I had, so those mailing lists help.
Well, my thought.
You're doing it right.
The only reason I thought that way is because like movies, that's the way they do movies. They schedule them in a way so if it's a Marvel movie coming out, I mean, you're gonna be careful if you're gonna be on that opening weekend, but so it probably doesn't matter in this case. So I'm still gonna launch around then. Thing is I really just want to make sure I have enough people signed up and have a really good running start. So if everyone can just please hit my Twitter up and just share all my stuff and retweet and all that, because it really, really helps.
I think a little it can give you a little friendly competition too, which can light a fire, man. So good luck to you. I think that's going to be awesome. Anyone else have any fun book updates? I'm just curious because I haven't gotten to talk to some of you in a while, like Mike and Dave.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Mike's got some stuff, right?
Yeah,
you got dinosaur stuff too, right?
Yeah. So Samurai and Dinosaurs is at the printer. We should be getting them back before the end of the year. Yep. And I can share my screen real quick. I don't know if anyone's seen the piece that I colored by Simon.
Let's see it.
Yeah.
Hook it up.
Yeah.
All right. Can you see?
No. Do I have to select it? Maybe. Let's try.
Oh no! Wait, that's on me. Hang on.
All right, who's making Thanksgiving leftovers in the background?
Oh, that's my wife. Sorry.
All right, there you go.
You're absolutely right. She's definitely heating up turkey and gravy and potatoes and stuffing. Awesome. Yeah.
Hey, you ain't gotta list everything, man. You get my mouth watering over here.
I know. I'm hungry now.
He's like, guys.
Cool.
The dog dropped on my foot. I gotta go. Bye.
No, I had apple pie for dinner. They just recently opened a White Castle in Phoenix, and White Castle is like an East Coast thing. So my family's been super stoked about it. I don't care
why they have so much smog.
So we went
White
after
Castle, like the fart castle. I don't know why. I don't know. Am I wrong? Do those things make everyone else just explode, or is it just me?
Do they have them in your area?
Explode, but they're delicious, man.
They don't have.
They are delicious. I do like them.
We don't have them anywhere even close to where we've lived in California and Arizona, so we're like, whatever. We get the microwave stuff. So they opened one a few weeks ago, and it's been like, 3-hour lines. And today we drove by after church, and there was like an hour line. So we were like, let's do it. And I got the breakfast sandwiches, which are good, but my wife and my son, they love the sliders. I can't stand them. No, they're okay. They're okay. But anyway, I got like 3 sausage breakfast sandwiches, and I got one of my wife's burgers.
White House police.
So I'm still totally full. I just had a piece of apple pie for dinner. Anyway, let's move on to Mike's art. Sorry.
I thought you were gonna make a point, but
my point is apple pie.
All right,
a slice of apple pie. That's what did it.
She's a nice slice of apple pie. Check her out. Look at her. Oh,
just
sexy,
look at her.
Angry at the world, killing gods.
I do have to say,
insurance. Nothing.
This is one of my favorite titles, Mike. I mean, regardless of anything else, without even seeing anything, The Gods Fear Me is a freaking badass title.
Thanks so much.
That's a great title.
I can guarantee you're going to get a lot of sales just based off of that title.
I know, right? Well,
it just intrigues people to, And can we just say a little about how Simon has been like excelling, just getting better and better?
Yeah, for sure. Like, it's funny, like we spent time talking about Ibai because in my head, the two of them are neck and neck in terms of like most improved CG artist over the course of the year.
Yeah. That's really cool. Yeah. Very exciting stuff.
Yeah, like watching both of them just mature and like grow into the artists like that they are now. Like it's been incredible to watch. This is the print was originally in black and white, and I had a couple days before Thanksgiving dropped, so I went in there and colored it up. So the print, just like Passion for Drawings print, is going to be full color. So this is one of the 2 pieces that are going out to all backers. And so as far as like a campaign update, funds were released early November, and Kristen's off and running. He's working on the next batch of 5 pages.
Sweet, cool.
Awesome.
Yeah, so it's gonna be like a long road because like we had to extend that extra 30 days, and like that threw some of his scheduling stuff off. But we're still hoping that we can have the book wrapped by about March, and in fulfillment by like May or June-ish.
Cool.
Well, you'll have us beat, man.
That's a good time because that's right around tax season. It's right after the taxes come out. So April and May, that's why everybody drops, I imagine. Or maybe it's just coincidence.
Yeah, like we're planning on staying in demand till about March or so, and our next campaign will probably be launching around April or May.
Cool. I think when Oddity's going to be, hopefully, barring any unforeseen printing errors or something that stops anything, we hope none of that stuff happens. But right now we're on schedule for a March delivery.
Mm-hmm.
And by then, I think the timing on that should be good to drop the next one, drop the next book.
Yeah, man. Like we just, with the schedule, we're really fortunate to be working with some of the artists that we're going to be working with next year, but it's kind of a similar position to like what we're dealing with Kristen here, where it's like, we've kind of had to create this cycle where like we're launching the next project as the previous project is in fulfillment. And like we've been really grateful that the audience has been trusting us with that this whole way, because I know for some people in CG there's that thing of like, why are you launching when like we don't have the book yet? And it's like, well, I'm not trying to like dick you guys around. It's just, if I'm going to publish this book within the next like 9 months, we kind of got to start nowish,
That's the thing. Like crowdfunding is people, fans, customers, they're contributing money to help something be made.
Right.
And it might take longer than advertised.
Well,
but the point is, the thing,
common.
as long as you're giving updates and you're letting them know, it's being made, not as quick as we hoped, but we're making it. Then for me, like I'm not speaking as a creator now. I'm speaking as a customer. Like specifically Red Rooster. That's one of the books that's like that people are complaining about lately. I don't care how long it takes. It looks awesome. I'm gonna wait. I paid money to help it be made. It's gonna take the time it takes, and then I'm gonna get it. And so, and there's other books like that too, like Brand. I love the Brand, looks awesome. I backed it because it looks awesome, and I'm gonna wait however long it takes to make it. There's other, obviously there's been guys who have been like shysters who have like totally, taken money and then ran and never did anything. But none of us are doing that. We're all making our books. It's just not taking, it's taking longer than we hoped.
Right.
Yeah. That's it.
We're on a learning curve right now.
We are on a learning curve.
Whatever they were doing before, and suddenly it's like, bam, I'm making a comic book. And now they're learning everything. They're learning how to schedule artists, how to do budgets, how to, schedule production, what kind of paper to use. Everybody's starting from the ground up, essentially.
Right.
And then you have to, how do I promote a campaign online with social media? How do I run a good campaign? I have to learn about that. It's like you're learning like 3 or 4 different full-time jobs at once.
Absolutely.
And it's crazy, but like you love it because you love your book. It's not really about the money as much as like you love your book and you want your audience to be entertained to hell. But as a consumer myself who's been jumping into Kickstarter since it first started up, because all these cool, artists or video games that I liked would pop up, comic books, I would support them. Well, the way I looked at it as a buyer was I was never freaked out when they were late. I kind of expected them to take the extra time to turn in a quality product to me. Yeah. But if they're like over a year late, I get concerned. I don't get angry. I don't freak out. I get concerned that the project might not come out at all. I hope they give me updates. But like that's how a normal person is about things that are late or when they're this type of big, hard, creative endeavor. The fact that we have all this extra pressure on us about being late lately is just it's just a petty attack by people that want, to hurt us because they don't like Ethan. And that's what they associate us with. And so it's become this, like, if we hurt them, it kind of hurts Ethan, and they don't realize like you are stomping on like newly budding comic book creators before they even get out there. Like you are trying to trash indie comics over being angry at someone. Like maybe you need to reevaluate how much of a fan of this medium you really are.
Right.
If you're going to be stamping on people that might end up, we might not all, or none of us might end up going anywhere with this. Some of us might break through. And I guess you'll get to say, yeah, that's right. Like I dissed on that Cal Jameson who's writing X-Men now. I told him he was a piece of shit on the internet because I'm a hero. Like, no, you're not. You're not a hero. You're not helping indie comics.
Right.
You need to chill the hell out.
It's that thing of like misery loves company, and like some of these people are supportive up until the point where like you cross a threshold of success, and then all of a sudden you're a part of the problem.
Dude, okay. Yeah. I have to stop. I have to interject. So seriously, what you just said is exactly precisely how it goes. I was nobody. I was literally nobody. I was like in Comicsgate just to like hang out. I had no like no like personal motivation stake. To like no personal stake. I wasn't planning on creating because I have my best friend is an artist. He's really, really good, and we have other stuff I was gonna do under my real name. And I started, and then like I was tweeting. So this is how I started Cal Jameson. I was tweeting from our joint Twitter account, and he was like, "Dude, what's up with all the conservative crap?" And I was like, "Okay, fine." I made a fake persona, Cal Jameson. Started just hanging out with Comicsgate people. No ambition to like create anything. And then I was doing a webcomic. I was going to do a webcomic of Shinobi Sasquatch myself. Like no artist. I was just going to draw it myself, write it myself, just free, just on Webtoons. And I shared it on Twitter, and people were like, "That's cool. Yeah, that's a cool idea." So I'm like, I better get an artist. And so I did, and like I had lots of friends. Everyone was my friend. And then after I passed the like 30,000 mark, I had people who were my friends before saying, "Oh, Cal doesn't even care about his customers now," and just making up crap, just smearing me for no reason.
Right.
The reason was success. That's it. The reason was success. I love my customers. I love my fans. I can't tell you the names, and I can't tell you how many, but I've messaged several of my people after they've messaged me, several of my backers saying, "Hey, I'm just going to send you a free book," just because they were cool. They send me a message that made me feel good, and I'm like, "I'm going to give you a free book. I'm going to give you a free this." Like I love my customers. They are the reason I'm anything right now, and I have stupid idiots saying, "Oh, Cal doesn't care about his customers now." Like, F you, you're not my customer. I know. I looked at my role after you said that, and you're not my customer. So no, you're not my customer. I don't care about you. I care about my customers.
Like you can sort out like who's full of shit from like who's legit, because like I had this happen like 2 or 3 times over the course of this year. Like, without naming names, like there was some issues with me and people like a few months ago, and like I saw people in my mentions do this thing of like, "Did you know Mike said such and such about so and so?" And then a person would reply like, "Oh, I can't believe that. I'm not following him anymore." Like blocking, and it's like,
oh geez.
You can separate those people out by like who actually reaches out to you and is like, "Did that really happen?" Like,
right.
If someone asks you for your side of things, like they're probably interested in either being a customer or at least giving you the benefit of the doubt.
Right.
And the people who just like do the fake outrage auto block thing we're going to do it at some point anyway, and they were just looking for an excuse.
Yeah,
now,
absolutely.
Here's the thing that I think people tend to overlook is, there's 2 different things. There's possibility and probability. Anything is possible, but not all things are probable. So when it came to like Ethan, right, and the whole thing, because obviously this is where all of this stems from, right? So, and the whole he's grifting and so on and so forth, right? Well, the fact is that, was there a possibility that he could do that? Yeah, of course, it's possible for anyone to do that. But for me, I said it's highly improbable because of the fact that all eyes are on him. You know what I mean?
Right.
So if he does this, he's taking a very huge risk, and honestly, all that money's not even worth it because it could start a chain reaction, and not even as far as how it affects us, but I mean just a chain reaction in general of what could happen to him. So I never for a minute thought, oh, he's just not going to do it. And then when he's showing all of these pages, maybe he could have been lulled here and there with YouTube, and maybe he even suffered burnout a little bit. We don't know that. But the point is that I never thought for a moment that he wasn't going to put his book out.
I think it's funny that there were people that put that out there, though. They were straight up, you're never going to see Cyberfrog, never going to happen.
Yeah.
Wishes. Just look, you want to hear my wish was today, and they present it as if it's real, and then it comes out, and they flip out about that. And it's because I guess they can't call it a grift anymore. It's so weird, man.
Look, I was on Twitter doing this constantly every time, like after a while, because I was always making these calls. I said, mark my words. I said, Ethan has just put out another announcement, right? He's given another update. I said, here, cue the flying monkeys, because the next thing they're going to do is they're going to say, oh, the art sucks. They're going to say that it's never coming out, and so on and so forth. So every single time. And then I'd see Ethan sometimes start getting into it with people. And I'm telling him, why are you even giving these people any moment at all? Because this is what they do every single time there's some sort of progress on the campaign. They're waiting for that so they can have something to say. And after a while, you just have to realize, because of the type of people they are and they're not narcissistic, thing, that's what they want. They figured that they know the buttons to push, so they're going to push them. But when those buttons don't work anymore, it's pointless for them. And then, of course, they start blocking us because we started to use pronouns and all that. And also because they just realized we weren't falling for it anymore.
Well, what they do is they move the goalpost of what the grift is. Like, first the book isn't going to come out, then he's just going to print up a bunch of mini comics. Then it was like I had to look up what fluting was. I'm like, this is the hill you're going to die on.
Yeah.
They keep moving the definition of what the grift is.
Yeah, and then of course, the other newest, most recent thing was the shell, how the chromium, bins, and it's just like, dude, you're approving.
I didn't know that one.
Are they not complaining that the cover's bowed?
Yeah, listen,
I'm gonna tell you a little.
Hold on, wait.
Go ahead.
The first thing that went through my head was, you are not a real comic book fan, because if you were, then you would know already the reason why that's happening.
Yeah.
But you would have, and even if you didn't, you would have looked it up first before you said anything, and we never would have heard from you. You would have known that, because he tried to stuff so much into that one book, and not only that, he put Bristol board in there for sketches, which is such an awesome added bonus for if we ever get that opportunity. Or we could send it in. Obviously, the cover's going to do that. Those things are not made out of like paper. They're made out of basically metal, you know what I mean? Like, and plastic. So what did they expect was going to happen? I mean, it's just, it's ridiculous. But I would like to say this, about this whole situation with Mike and Edwin and that whole thing, right? Even though it involves war campaign and all that, this is the thing that I see from my side as a believer. And when I look at Mike and Edwin, right, I have the utmost love for these dudes as fellow believers and as creators, as far as Mike goes, with making comics and Lone Star and everything. But here's the thing. The thing is that, first of all, I know it's been said a million times, it's the internet, right? But second of all, it's Twitter, okay? There's absolutely no way you can stop anyone from doing anything that you don't like, right? And as believers, we have this tendency to, because we're trying our best to separate ourselves from the world, which is what we're told to do, right? But at the same time, we're also told to interact with the world in a way, But what happens is you get into this type of situation and you're interacting with people and they don't do what is God's standards. And then you get to feeling like you need to have some sort of influence on that, or you need to somehow tell them something, and it becomes a policing situation. And the Bible does not account for the internet. You know what I mean? So there's no way for you to know exactly what to do. So you have to use your best judgment. And the best judgment is if you don't like it, you mute somebody or you block somebody and let it be. You don't need to continue going, because all you're going to end up doing is causing us a mess for yourself, And so, that whole thing right there, because it really disappoints me, because I don't feel like they should have distanced themselves the way that they did, because I'm not saying that they should like the methods that War Campaign, uses. I don't like them either, but at the same time, I respect their zeal for the ideals of Comicsgate, you know what I mean? But they're also grown men, and I can't really tell them what to do or what they can't do, So
yeah. That's why I'm going to mute you, Grandma. Sorry.
Alex,
I'm gonna have to contradict you here, Alex. I'm looking at the Bible right now, and John chapter 3 says, "Thou shalt not quote tweet." So it's in there.
Alex,
the Lord has spoken.
Alex, do we follow each other on Twitter, man?
Yeah. So my whole point is that we keep our heads down and do our work.
Of course.
We can.
Work comes first.
We're supposed to be a light into the world, and we're supposed to shine that light into the world. But at the same time, we're also told that we should, also when someone doesn't want it, there's a passage that says you leave the town and you shake the dust off of your feet in front of them, So you just do your business and you move on, And if those people want the opportunity to be friends with you, or they're all individuals, they're not just a one group, you know what I mean? So if they want to, then you welcome them with open arms. And then if you just have disagreements, you just have disagreements, and that's just all there is to it. You're not going, even if they weren't under some name tag or whatever, if you were friends with them in real life and next door neighbors or whatever, that's how it would have to be. You'd have to agree to disagree.
Yeah. I mean, I like that speech about that. Just focus on the work. I kind of liked my speech about how you should work before jerking off. I think that just says it all. I like that. But I do want to say, it's true what you're saying, because we put our work first. I think a lot of us have kind of a blue collar mentality about this, and we're working our asses off on this. So it's really disheartening when people claiming to be customers,
right,
or whether they are or maybe they aren't,
right,
come at you and try to say that what you're doing is a grift. When this is like your heart and soul, this is like what you're putting your everything into. You're just doing it for money. You're just doing it, to be part of the Comicsgate grift. I'm doing this because I would like to change my life and be a comic book author, and because I love entertaining people, and that's what brings me joy, man. And I'm doing this on top of my full-time job. I'm trying to make this life work. Why would you want to take away from that just because you're mad about something on Twitter? Grow the hell up. I'm tired of it, man. But it is going to be behind us, and I'm going to keep making comics no matter what they say and do. It's never going to change. So I'm not too worried.
There's going to come a point where what we're doing is the norm, and that's when all this signal to noise bullshit is going to drop away.
Yeah.
Right. That's exactly right. Yeah. And but that's what I'm saying is, see, what always tends to happen in these types of situations is you cool, and then you hit that dip, and you're against each other, and then you hit, and then you come back together and everybody's friends again, or rather they're getting along, maybe just amicably with each other and doing business with each other, and that's fine. you know. So that's why I don't ever really get too deep into it. The only thing I got into like was telling, like when Edwin that defamation video or whatever, you know, I told him you are absolutely wrong. You know, you cannot be around people and be okay with them. And then when they do things that are not godly or don't follow these principles, that you all of a sudden now say, you know, you need to be I need to make you do what I do, you know. And
hey,
you know,
listen, as a Christian, I can't condone like war campaign stuff. When Ethan, and I love Ethan, and he's helped me raise a ton of money, I'm always going to back him. When he started like pushing the forward war campaign as like folk heroes, I just got out of the DM groups and I don't go on his streams anymore. You know, just like I can't share like with my fellow church. Like I have church people at my church. I'm a worship pastor. I can't share with them war campaign like endorse. Like I can't say, hey, check out a hashtag Comicsgate on Twitter and then be proud of what they find because the dildo memes and all that stuff. So I just told Ethan privately. I said, dude, I love you. I'm always going to have your back. I'm cool with Comicsgate, but I can't endorse that stuff.
And that's fine,
you know. But look at me. But look at my Twitter timeline. Like I'm not pulling a cherry. Like I'm not out there like all of a sudden like you know, Comicsgate is evil. Like I love Comicsgate. They've given me tons of money, but I just can't endorse that look.
Well, and that's the beauty of Comicsgate. Like the circle can be as wide or as like, you know, contracted as you want it to be. Like, I can hang out with those guys. I can hang out with all of you. Like it's what you define it to be. And it's when you get other people going, well, no, it can't be that. Well, then you found where the problem is.
And that's why it drives me crazy when these guys leave comics. They say, okay, I'm leaving Comicsgate. And then they all of a sudden are like, Comicsgate's evil. Ethan Van Sciver is running the Illuminati. And he's directing war campaign as like this John Wick style hitman network who's out. Like, no, I know Ethan. I've talked with him privately. Ethan has defended me against war campaign on many occasions publicly on his streams. No, he doesn't direct
I remember
hits. It doesn't happen. It doesn't happen.
It doesn't. It's God.
As a member
How
of
do
the
I put this? Humans.
I'm happy to say there is no Illuminati.
Right.
I love it. It's how do I put it? We're all a group of artists. Okay, I'm gonna put it, baby.
Put it.
Put it.
Human nature, tribal. Even if you try to not be tribal, get tribal, cliques form, and then conflict between cliques form. These people just took it to this crazy over the top level instead of just being like, no, this is just the way it is. I don't run with. There's a lot of people I don't really know that well in Comicsgate and don't associate with very much. I just don't. I'm always been an artsy nerd, so like I like the artsy people, and I feel like I gel well with them. Part of this is being able to engage with other artists. For me, that's one of the more important things for me. I'm not, for me, it's not about all the memes or anything. I have made memes in the past, but not really gotten into it. And you have to really like get me going for me to make up something.
The guy who's biting on the tip of his glass is saying, what does this painting say to you?
Yeah. Like I'm an artsy nerd. Like I'm not part of some like evil mafioso, whatever conspiracy theory, anything. Like, and I love the artists I'm getting to meet and hang out with and like jam with you guys and bounce ideas and talk about our work. I mean, this is really cool, stimulating stuff. This is not what people out to harass people or who are part of an evil like conspiracy do. They're not like sitting around talking about art and stuff. They would be, you know, it's for me, it hasn't been really all that bad. I haven't noticed the stuff I guess other people have. And I'm just trying to be cool with everyone and enjoy getting to work and meet and get in the minds of all these cool up and coming artists during this exciting kind of punk rock bubble we have going here.
Well, here's the thing. I you know, when I was living in LA, I lived in LA for like 7 years. So I never, you know, claimed a set, but I was running with Crips and Bloods. I was in gang culture. You know what I mean?
Weird.
And I was doing all of these things, right? So one of the things that we did a lot was we, capped on each other. They call it roasting or whatever. And I'm talking about like really, I mean, you got to grow a series, like 3 skins to, have a 3rd skin. Okay. In order to really go through this, because you're sitting in a group of sometimes 20 dudes and they're all like going off, and then one guy gets you and he's on a streak and he's just saying all these things about you and everybody's dying. So you and they don't care. They will say, like one time one of the guys came in the room, right? He had gone to McDonald's. He came into the room and then he drew on the cup with hair and a hat and everything. And it looked like me, and the character that he drew over was Grimace, So like, there's like so many things. You look like a can of busted biscuits. All of these things. And you got to really be able to take it. And some people, can't, right? So, moving to this point in time. So, I realized that some people, they have that, like that's how they communicate with each other, is that kind of a way, and they like to go that far with it, So, I mean, that's just how it is. They have that sense of humor, and I may not like it, you know what I mean? But other people may think it's funny. But here's the thing about that, is that when I look back at what I've learned, rather, is that when those guys saw that it bothered you, they went even harder. It made them do more. And so when you just sit there and you show, and it bothers you, and you're trying to tell them all this stuff, they're just going to go even harder on you, and they're going to get a bigger laugh out of it. And that's why you don't say nothing, and you just let it go, and you do your
You guys
thing,
know, in olden times, and probably somewhere still in Europe, being performed by hipsters, there are those little in the town square. There's a little box, and it's a little stage play, and they have the puppets, and one puppet beats up the popular politician with a stick. Like that's what happens still in a digital way. So it's like. And like, remember on the TV shows where like the politician walks by and he's going up the stairs of the forum or some shit, and like he sees the little puppet version of himself getting beaten with a stick, and he makes like he grimaces and is like, and he just keeps walking. Like that's how you do it. Just keep walking. But like, if you're like, let's have a discussion about what you're doing is morally wrong, and like that is bad, and like that makes and that's gonna ruin comics, and like you're not gonna get anywhere. They're gonna just keep making puppet of you get hit with the stick.
And they're gonna keep doing it. It's like when they burn somebody in effigy. I mean, what are you gonna do? I mean, it's already lit. So I mean, you just gotta tell yourself that's not me. You know what I mean? Like if that's what you have to do, I mean that's how you should have that mentality. Me, in my mind, I think if someone does something like that towards me, I'm just like, I mean, you don't pay my bills. You're not pumping the air that goes into my lungs. So why should I care? And so back in the I was just going to say, because back in the day, what we would say is, somebody would say something or whatever, and I'd be like, well, I bet you can't whoop my ass. So that's I guess the mentality I have, just because I came from that, so it doesn't bother me as much. So when I see people like just, oh my gosh, I mean, pity party, and I'm like, dude, it's mute them or block them. Like, why would you even, you're gonna go and take DMs and give them to somebody? Like, what is that gonna do?
I mean, the way I've always described it is, it's like what War Campaign does is like this Andy Kaufman level of performance art, and it's like, if that's not your thing, you can just walk past the club.
Right. Andy Kaufman was funny, but I see where you're going.
But like, you can't walk into the club knowing what you're getting into and then be like, well, why is this happening? It's like, well, because that's part of the performance, man.
That's the bit, that's the bit. As a matter of fact, when you look at it, with ignoring somebody, you have to realize that at some point they're just going to get tired of it, right? They're going to get tired of, they're going to be like, it doesn't bother you anymore. So, it's no fun for me anymore, right? Well, recently
I've had to do this. I've had to really do this. I've had people decide to come after me just for posting a Cyberfrog promotion tweet. I mean, and they spent all weekend doing it, and you just have to ignore it. Like they don't.
Did you see
matter.
you see that Comic Book Hut's targeting you now, Vaughn?
Yeah.
Oh, it's
yeah. Demented for Fun pointed that DM'd me earlier and told me.
Yeah, he wants my attention very badly, and he's not going to get it. Because, and by the way, he never bought a book. He's not a customer.
Right. No, he's no. Let me just say, Comic Book Hut is nobody. He's nobody. He doesn't matter to me. He doesn't matter to any of us creators because he doesn't buy any of our books.
Well,
he's just the guy who wants to slam you in public and get
No, I think he's awesome because ever since he did this, I've gotten like a boost in sales.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So hey, please don't hate. Let me just say, whenever I argue with War Campaign Online, I make at least $1,000. Okay. So it's drama. Just unfortunately, drama draws attention. Doesn't matter what side you're on. If you fight with somebody, the people that are against them are going to give you money.
Man, I don't want to worry about that. I want my book to be so good. People that freaking want to kill each other both buy it. Like,
that's the thing. That's why I've stopped doing all that. I stopped doing all that crap because I don't want to make money through drama. I want to make money because Rob's art is killer and my concept is awesome.
Right. People who try to make money through drama, it burns itself out real quick.
Absolutely.
Well, here's the thing too that I just saw recently. I mean, I kind of already knew this, but I never thought that. I didn't think that moment would come. But recently, by way of one of John Malin's videos, everybody has a breaking point. Yeah, and that recent video, like as soon as I saw the outline of what John was drawing, I was like, no, please.
What was it?
Please, Human Centipede.
Oh no!
It was a Human Centipede Thanksgiving thing. I was like, oh no! I said, oh my god! And it's one of those things, it's a wreck, and you shouldn't look at it, but you just can't help but look, And who's leading the line? Ro. Okay.
Okay. All right.
So Ro is and he shows it in the editing. He's starting to visibly be like he's starting to be shook, right? And they're all laughing at him, and then John's just like making it go further because how John is. He's just saying more and more, just making it go further and further. And it's crazy because it ramps up as he keeps adding more detail to the drawing.
I gotta watch this.
And eventually, there's an element of blood that comes in, and that's when Rose is like, no. He don't even want to show it no more. He don't want to show the drawing no more. So everyone has their limits. You know what I mean?
Yeah. We're all human beings.
Oh, you're making my night, man.
You might think that it's funny, but when you see this, especially if you feel like, oh, they've attacked me or whatever the case is, no, despite all that, you will now see a point where they have their own, I guess you could say weaknesses or whatever, everyone has them. We're all human,
Right.
So it's not to say, anything in a negative way. I'm just saying like you eventually people get to a certain point and they're just like, whoa, wait a minute. I can't go any further than this. This is my ceiling here,
It's a perspective thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Because we're like, all right, so like the dildo mean thing, that's over the top for some people. That's crossing the line.
Right.
And for other people, obviously it isn't. Other people say, oh, that's wicked funny. Right. But then like you send the killing a frog thing, and no, that's over the line. But for some people, that obviously isn't over the line.
Right. And see, for me, both things are over the line, and that's
exactly.
Like, I'm kind of ticked at Mike over that.
It's all perspective. For some people can't handle either one. Some people, it's like, well, we did this, but it always escalates.
Yeah.
And really, it comes down to all it comes down to really is personality conflicts.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Because everybody was making good books.
Right.
And I mean, maybe the way they were marketing them or the way they were selling them or whatever, people were getting upset. But it all came down to personality conflicts.
Okay,
and
so listen, here's why I'm not like anti-Comicsgate. Okay, I'm a Christian. I can't get behind war campaigns stuff. I just can't. Like it's unseemly. I can't, like I said, I can't direct my buddies who, like, I've got one friend who's at my new church. I just took a new job as a worship pastor at a new church. I can't send him to Twitter to like check out what's going on. I can send him directly to my Indiegogo page, and that's it. Right. Because the war campaign dildo stuff is just so ubiquitous, you just can't get away from it. But I understand a lot of people are fine with it, and that's so I'm not like okay, F Comicsgate. No, Comicsgate's fine. They're doing fine. They've gone in a direction that I can't like totally endorse.
Right.
But I realize that not everyone in Comicsgate is Christian. Not everyone that wants to be Comicsgate is a hardcore Christian like me. And so that's fine. They can do their own thing. And I just won't direct people over there that are like in my camp, my Christian, community. And that's fine. But you have to realize, like, not everyone is there. Right. Comicsgate is revolutionizing how comics are done.
Please,
and you got to respect that.
godsfearme.com.
Yes. And by the way, Mike, how is the Gods Fear Me doing?
Oh, it's doing great. We're about 800 away from 8K.
Awesome.
Wow. Nice. Sweet.
Awesome.
I'm looking forward to that one, man. It's got a really cool mix of familiar things that I like put together into like a really original kind of fresh way that I'm interested in seeing play out.
Yeah, when you have a character that has that sort of lines on the face, Grendel Crow type of a vibe on the face, that always draws my attention.
And it's to show her cybernetics, but it also is reminiscent of tribal war paint, which is perfect for her character.
Sure.
Yes, exactly.
Who's the artist on that, Mike?
That is Kristen Rossi. He's a big Alterna artist.
Oh, I know who he is.
Yeah. Kristen, he's amazing, man.
Yes, I've been wanting to pick up that Void Walker because it looks really cool.
Ooh, yes,
it's so good.
I was gonna get it the other day, and I realized there's only one issue out, and I decided I'm gonna wait till the collected, the collected edition comes out. I'm gonna buy the whole thing at the same time because holy crap, that looks great.
What's it about?
Right in front of me right now.
What's Void Walker about?
It's kind of like it's the tale of a hitman, but it's kind of got a lot of paranormal, like Morrison-ish overtones to it. Like,
okay.
Yeah, it goes places, man.
Wow.
That book is so gorgeous to look at.
And there is just one out right now, right?
Yeah, like I'm kind of the same way. Like, what's nice about Alterna is they kind of handle trades the way we do here in Comicsgate. So like, like I know that there's going to be a campaign for the trade version of that book, and that's what I'm going to be backing.
That's what I'm waiting for because it's it's like $1.25 or $1.50 for the book, but $5 for shipping. Yeah. So I'm like, well, I'm just going to wait till they do the whole, the first arc or whatever, and then just get that all at once.
Yeah. Yeah, like I mean, ever since Trespasser, like anything Kristen does, I buy.
Yeah, nice. The dude is really dope, and his coloring is really great as well.
Sweet. Well, guys, it's been awesome. I'm really glad I got to shoot the shit with you. I'm gonna head out. Got work in the morning.
All right, Vaughn.
All right, Vaughn.
Later.
Thanks, guys. Have a good night.
Thanks for showing up, Vaughn. Appreciate it.
Later.
Yeah, appreciate you guys. Take care.
All right.
I think, Dave, we should do like a writers thing like this, like every week, like all of us are writers. Yeah. Like I realized no artist dropped in on this. And I'm like, not that I don't like artists, but
I don't.
This is
I
cool.
don't like artists at all.
I'm an artist too. I'm just a very conscientious artist.
Yeah, well, I know Alex, Vaughn and I both are artists too. Like I'm a like very mediocre. I have a lot of raw natural talent, but I never developed it. And I think Vaughn's the same way. Like he can draw a good picture, but it takes a different skill set to draw an entire comic book and make it good every page. And I realize I can't do that.
The guy tells me every single time he sees me do something like when I do fan art and all that.
Yeah,
he's like, I don't understand why you're not doing your own books. And I'm like, I said, I don't know.
I checked you. I looked you up, and I realized we're following each other.
Yeah.
So I'll have to check out some of your artwork, man. But
yeah, you were in CG Delta before.
Yeah. Okay. So I quit all. Okay. When I'm sorry for War Campaign guys. Listen, I know I have a lot of friends that do War Campaign. Just generally speaking, when War Campaign started being pushed forward as like a folk hero movement, I just quit all my DM groups, even Ethan's. Like, I mean, I'm losing tens of thousands of dollars not being able to go on Ethan's streams.
Right.
But I, as a Christian, I just can't endorse that kind of like vulgarity. And so, and I realize not everyone's a Christian. That's fine. But for me, I can't endorse that. So I quit all my DM groups. I started a new one that's got a bunch of Christian guys in it. It's really good. Like Gil Deltrez, who's doing Grom right now,
right,
is in it. Jimmy Reyes, who's like a pro penciler inker, is in the group. The hero guys like Macho Man and Macho Dan and Mutt Man.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, it's just like a bunch of Christian guys. So I quit a bunch of groups. I started one that was going to be just uplifting, and that's it. Like we don't complain about anything in the group. We don't be like we're not like War Campaign is so evil. Like I don't care. They're not Christians. They're fine. They do what they do.
To be fair, we didn't do that either. Yeah. But I will tell you this though. What you said about being on Ethan's streams and so on and so forth. Okay, now that we're told that we would face persecution in his name, right?
Yeah.
Okay. But what has been seen, let's just say it there, because I don't want to target any specific person or anything like that, but what you've seen, that's not the persecution.
No.
That right? So since it's not that, it would be, I feel like it wouldn't be fair to what you're blessed to be able to do by giving up, that there, especially when that's not you, right? Like vulgarity or whatever the case is, but this is where you're at. Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah. Well, hey, dude, this is what it boils down to. Like, I think it's Paul who says like, go with your own conviction.
Right.
Don't crap on someone else if their conviction isn't the same as yours.
Right.
So dude, your brother, and dude, if Ethan invites you on next week, I'm not going to be like, oh, that Alex guy.
No, listen, and do not take what I said as what you outlined that Paul did indeed say. What I'm saying is I'm saying I personally wouldn't want to see you, how do you call it? Those opportunities are there for a reason. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, like, it just would be awesome to see you, to have that fullness of what you're being given, and to take it. And I get what you mean, because there's the whole thing about eating certain meats and so on and so forth, about what we should tell someone else, the believer. But at the same time too, I'm just saying the other things that maybe you need encouragement. That's all.
Right. I think my position is this, like, it's all like a personal conscience thing. And for me, like, I don't have any problem with Christians going on Ethan's stream. Like, I love Ethan. Like I said, he made me like over $10,000. Like, and dude, and he doesn't have to. Ethan invites like guys like you and me on. He invites us on out of the goodness of his heart just to help. Like, I have no problem with Ethan Van Sciver. I'm always going to be a fan. I'm always going to be, someone who's going to back him up.
Right.
But the recent kind of prominence of War Campaign is bringing all those dildo memes and stuff to the forefront. Like, I've got this one specific guy who plays in my band. Like I said, I'm a worship pastor. I've got a guy who plays a rhythm electric for me. And he's like, dude, I want to check out your campaign and this and that. And he's like interested in everything I'm doing. And literally all I can do is just send him to Indiegogo. I can't have him check out what's going on Twitter or anything because of all the stuff that's it taints your mind. And so I can't, like, personally, my own conviction just right now, because I'm in a place of prominence in front of hundreds of people, Like I can't direct people to that, but I'm fine if you want, like it's a personal conviction thing. So, and I'm not saying it's going to be forever. Like
don't direct them to the hashtag or anything.
Yeah.
So of course, send them to your campaign and all that. But I mean, for those outside of that area that are just showing up to a stream,
right?
In general, you know what I mean. And whatever you might put that comes out of the word into your books. It's something that would still be something good for them to hear about, and they make their own decisions.
Yeah, good point.
But like I said, I'm not I'm not doing that. You know what I mean? I'm just saying, sometimes we just got to be out there. I mean, look at Kanye West. Kanye West. Yeah. I mean, we really ain't got nothing to say, compared to him, because he's got all eyes on him. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that's how I just kind of look at it, and if he's somebody that big that can go at it like that and be around all that, I mean, to a certain extent, then I'm like, man, dude, what can I do? You know what I mean? What could I be doing?
I started seeing memes right away when his new album dropped, to like worship leaders be like, I got to change all my set lists now.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I can't do that because my congregation is like 50% 70 plus. So they're not going to be rapping in there.
Yeah, you gotta.
What if they were?
I've seen pastors like 50, 60 years old that are like loving it, but not everybody, is like that. So But I don't want to, push too much of the of my own thing. As far as that, I mean, I'm out with it. I posted verses and all sorts of stuff on my Twitter, but at the same time, I also realize that, it's given to those who want it.
Right.
And you can't, forcing someone is not how you show love to somebody.
No, absolutely. Yeah. Good point, man. Sorry, Dave and Mike.
Yeah, sorry.
The Christians took over for a little bit.
No, I like having a show where everyone else talks.
Yeah.
No dead air.
Yeah. Well, no, you're talking about War Campaign. We did. We have one of the pinups for Oddity. They used one of them in one of their memes.
Right.
And and at first, like we didn't really get a complaint, but the artist. It was Sashi. She gave us a little DM. She's like, "Hey, did you give permission for this?" I was like, "Well, no." And then we kind of had a little discussion. What do we do about this? Well, should we do anything? Blah blah. And then eventually we were like, you know what? I was going to be like, "Hey guys, if you could not, we'd appreciate it if you wouldn't use this." But then we were like, you know what? We're not going to say anything. Or at least I didn't say anything. I was like, you know what? We ignore it. We're not going to say anything.
Any promotion is good promotion.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
So we ended up. I think he said that's fine, but at least link us. Link our book next time you use it.
That's what I would say. I'd be like, hey, dude.
But then you know what? It was one day they used it, bam, and it was done. The whole thing was all over.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I've got a bunch of
get some blowback, but I mean, eventually it ended up being nothing. So.
Well, the thing is, I've noticed this. Like a lot of the newer, like War Campaign is growing pretty quickly. A lot of the newer guys they're not aware of any of the drama in the past, or it's very cursory knowledge to them. Like Joe Frago is a follower of mine, and we interact a lot. He's a really cool guy. Captain F Head, I can't say his full name because I'm a Christian. Yeah. Captain F Head's a good friend of mine. We've DM'd a lot about the War Campaign thing. Like some of these guys have joined War Campaign since that. The War Campaign, not all of War Campaign, but like a few of the guys really did try to derail my campaign. They were telling people, don't back Cal. He's anti-Comicsgate, this and that. I got private DMs from people saying, hey, they think you're trying to stab Caesar in the back. Like, no, I don't even call him Caesar. He's Ethan Van Sciver. Like he's a human person. He's not any kind of ruler or potentate. He's just a guy who draws great comic books. Like he's a friend of mine, in the most minor way because he's awesome and I'm just me. There's none of that stuff, like I literally just want to make comics. I don't want any drama. I don't want anyone to hate me. But they, because I like, and this is the whole thing. This is how it all started. like attacked Nasser. By the way, Nasser's terrible, but Ro attacked Nasser a while back, and I was like, hey, and I just tweeted Ro. I said, dude, isn't this the kind of like the tweet he made was very immature and very unnecessary, vulgar. I said, isn't this the kind of stuff we're trying to get away from? Like, I just feel like this is unnecessary.
Right.
And I immediately got so much backlash. And then I went on Ethan like the next day. I got people like super chatting Ethan to say what a a soy boy and a cuck I am. And I had also blocked Yellow Flash because he had come on Ethan the previous day to like talk crap about Nasser. Like I said, I'm not defending Nasser. I'm against that kind of unnecessary antagonism. I think we can just like, this is comic books. Can't we just be like, haha, that's funny and stupid. You can't come on anymore. That's fine. Like, can we just leave it at that instead of like making it a war against people? Like,
this is what I was saying earlier.
Yeah.
About Mike and about Edwin.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. And I hope you can really totally understand.
I do. Yes.
What I'm saying here is that I hear what you're saying and I can agree with you, but at the same time, this is what I mean is that even though we may feel a certain way about it, right? There is just nothing that we could do to change that, right? And so all we can do is be an example of what we feel like is how do you call it, the model or whatever you want to call it,
right?
That's all we can do is be that. There is nothing. It's just like when people, one of the phrases that I hate when they say, we're out here winning souls. I personally do not like that phrase because God says he calls a man to him, right?
Yeah.
So that's why I don't really like that phrase because you may be doing what you're supposed to, but in the end, it's him and that person's personal choice of whether they receive that message or not, right? So when it comes to this type of situation, I think of it in the same way. People will either enjoy, will either be receptive to that or they won't. So us being in this type of thing, we have certain ideals, which are the things that are in Comicsgate that we want to see, right? So that puts us in the middle of this ring, and so we have to, that there is just that thing where we have to just look past things, and we have to, we cannot try to exert it because we're not in a position where we're supposed to labor with someone with the gospel and or those types of things. So there's not much that we could really do to influence like that. You know what I mean? So
that's why I took the cross out. Like I had a cross in my handle for a little bit, and then I realized, oh my gosh, that's becoming a new like cherry. Like the cross is like a new identity for anti-Comicsgate people. So I took it out. Like I'm not anything. Like I'm just an independent comics creator. I'm friends with mostly people in Comicsgate, but also people that are cherries. Like Vicky, like Ethan Van Her, like go at each other's throats constantly. But she follows me, and I'm not gonna like cast anyone off if they're a fan of Shinobi Sasquatch.
Right.
I mean, isn't that the whole point of Comicsgate? One of the main points is that we don't crap on our fans. Like I can't. So, but according to like that mentality that's coming from a certain segment of Comicsgate, I have to crap on certain fans in order to appease other fans. And I'm not going to crap on any fans because like anyone who gives me money for my comic book and doesn't hold it over my head as like a license to treat me like crap, I'm going to love on those people. I'm going to
think about it like this. It doesn't see, even if they do, even if they give you money and they crap all over what we do, it's the same as when Ethan buys figures and cuts them up.
Yeah.
Okay. It's the exact same thing. You did what you were supposed to do. You made your product and you gave it to people like you were supposed to, or when the time comes, and that's it. What they decide to do, or even once you've announced your campaign and once you said details of stuff, if people want to do that, they can do it. I mean, that's their choice. That's their own within their own selves, they have to, just like we have to, each take our redemption with fear and trembling. Same that they got to do, whether they're believers or not. They have to deal with whatever they do as people. Whatever they feel is right morally, whether we agree with it or not. Yeah. That's them. Most of the things that Christ said, when he was talking to multitudes and crowds, he was talking to people who already believed in God. Right? They may not have believed in him yet, but they believed in God, followed the Torah, so on and so forth. So, not everything is directed at everyone outside of that. So anyone who's not a believer, not everything there is directed at them. It's for them, but not necessarily is it saying that we have to be, like worried or personally offended.
Yeah. I hear
you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So all we can do is continue to just keep moving. And like he said, give them the other cheek.
Yeah.
And that's it.
I think for me, it just boils down to like we're, Comicsgate, indie comics isn't like an overtly religious movement. Like we're just saying, hey, listen, comics got really weird. Let's make them better. Right. So Shinobi Sasquatch, you're not gonna get Shinobi Sasquatch in August of next year or whenever. You're not gonna get it, open it up and go, wow, this is a great gospel presentation. Like, no, this is a fun comic book. Like that's all we're trying to do.
That's the answer right there to you. That's the answer, right? So you're not giving a gospel presentation in this book. Right. So that means that when you're amongst this or within this framework, this community, whatever term people want to call it, right, then that's what you're in the middle of. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So since that's not what you're specifically doing, then it's just what it is. You're making a comic, and some people will like you and some people won't. Some people will agree with you, some won't. And you know what? Hey, like I said, shake the dust off your feet, keep it moving.
Yeah.
And that's all you can do, because the moment that you hinge your own personal feeling of how you feel, maybe about yourself or anything around you, the moment that you do that, in a case where you have no way that we're talking mostly through text. It's hard to read emotion or what people are really meaning sometimes, the way that they're saying it. So what, you don't have really any other choice. We don't have any other choice,
Yeah. Let me pop in. Jason Black says, in their defense, War Campaign loves me and I follow back all who follow me. He says the whole dildo thing seems to have cooled off. I haven't checked in on it in a few weeks, so maybe it has. Maybe I need to start unblocking some people. I don't know. That'd be cool. But then George Peter Gatsis says, this is you, Dave. But why define CG? ? Number one, no gatekeeping. Number two, let the market decide. That's it. Do not need more than that. Thoughts? I agree with that.
Right. And that's exactly what I'm saying is the moment that we
need the first one. Because that's what the second one will do. The second one will be a natural gatekeeping. The thing about having somebody in charge, quote unquote, of CG is them making some kind of decision for consumers. I'm not saying that they are making any decision, but I guess people get the impression that that's what's going on.
Right.
CG really. I mean, I always go back and forth on this because there's like a creator side of CG and then there's the consumer side. Yeah. Ultimately, the consumer movement, you don't need gatekeeping because the people that are in Comicsgate, they already have the nose for the kind of stuff that they don't want, that they're against in the mainstream comics. They're going to buy the stuff that they didn't like from mainstream. That's what they're doing. So there isn't a need for somebody to quote unquote be in charge, be the leader of, because the people with the money who are buying the comics can sniff out and they will know if something is too SJW for them or if there's something about it they just don't like. They can do that themselves.
Yes, and that is a personal ability of discernment that they have. And maybe it's not the discernment that I know, that I would look at biblically, right? But this is not what this is about right now. You understand what I'm saying? So we're looking at their personal discernment. We need to just let them do what they're going to do. Let people decide, what they like and what they don't like, and that's it, and we just be cool with people. And if they say something that offends us or whatever, we're supposed to look past it regardless. That's good for anyone. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like when Christ spoke with Nicodemus, he said, how many times? But he was talking about brothers in the faith, though. Yeah. You know what I mean? So how much more should we give grace to everyone else who may not know?
Right. I think Comicsgate can, for me, this is my own personal thing. Comicsgate can be boiled down to one word: meritocracy. Mm-hmm. We value people who are going to give good products,
right?
And it doesn't have to. That doesn't mean like every part of it is good. Like I look at like 90s and like early Image as a template for Comicsgate. Like I'm rereading like the first run of Darkness right now, Spawn. I just got done rereading like the first 3 or 4 volumes of Spawn. The writing isn't great, but holy crap, the whole package is great. The writing is kind of like meh, but with the art, it elevates it. And so I think Comicsgate's the same thing. Like we might not have like a bunch of like, high caliber writers. We've got a bunch of great artists, and they're going to elevate some of that writing, that may not be, super high caliber. But the point is, we're putting out great books. We're putting out phenomenal books that are like head to head, and even better in most cases than a lot of the stuff Marvel and DC are putting out. And that's because we're like you said, we're playing by our own rules. We're saying like, we're looking at the indie comics crowd and what they're asking for, and we're giving them that. Period. Right. Like meritocracy. It's good. It's good comics.
All right, and again, George Peter Gatsis, he says, but EVS constantly defines CG with statements like, "This is the best of CG. This is what CG is about," and points to the immediate people around him. But others do the same too. But I mean, as much as I like Ethan, he's doing a cover for us eventually, and that's cool. But it's one of those points I disagree with him on. Yeah, I really think it's all about the consumers choosing what they want. Right. We've got people that call themselves CG, and I don't care if you're Ethan, I don't care if you're Malin, I don't care if you're War Campaign or whatever. They don't get to decide if you're CG or not.
Right.
What the consumer ultimately decides who CG is.
Right.
And I mean, you can. There are people that look to Ethan to say, okay, well, maybe, a good thing where I really hate about with Bigfoot Bill, where they say, well, he used CG. Well, no, if you liked his book, you bought his book. I didn't buy Bigfoot Bill because Ethan told me to get it. I bought it because it looked good. It looked like a good book, and it looked like a good story. I liked the art. I liked the story. The same with Earthworm Jim or whatever. I can like that stuff and still like Ethan's stuff, and still still like Mike Miller's stuff. I can like.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. I don't like what Mike Miller has done recently, right? Mm-hmm. But I still will back his stuff because his books don't focus on any of that, right?
Yeah.
But this is my point, is where we have to separate the product from the ethics, right? So if let's say, as a matter of fact, Zach is a great example, right? He said everything under the sun about Gail Simone, but when she did that book for whatever that company is, he was like, "This is good. It's good." So we have to learn to separate those things, and people will do that. You may have some people that say something to you or whatever, and they may hound you on the very day that they back your product, even after they said it. And they may not say anything, or you may see the list and say, whoa, what, they actually supported. It comes down to, because our stores are not doing what the SJWs do, which is putting that, we're putting that into the book. We're not putting that into the book. Since we're not doing that, then again, it all comes down to the wallet, and what the wallet says goes. So it doesn't make a difference who agrees or doesn't agree.
Yeah.
None of that matters.
I really respect that about Zach. Yeah. Go ahead.
But what I was going to say too about with Ethan, like, for example, when he said, you need to have so many thousand YouTube subscribers and so on and so forth. Now, I agree that will be a huge help. I do. If you're really trying to get like really, really big numbers, but sometimes things can happen, and sometimes you just have to think outside the box. That's why I started CG Delta, because there's some people who are like shy, and they're just not gonna ever really be YouTube type of personality, right? Because that's what is really on YouTube. That's what sells you. It sells. It's not what you're putting out. It's you. They're buying you, and that goes with your product as well. So some of them may not do that. So I wanted to, friendly proving a point, I guess, to say, is that you don't always have to do it that one way. And even Ethan did say, he said there's probably another way, or more than one way, but this is the way I feel like is a more sure way. So my thing was, once you gather all these people up, now you've pulled your audiences together. Once you pulled them together, now when you're retweeting each other and commenting, you are basically walking up to their house with all your friends, and so everybody's seeing it at the same time that you do when you do that, right? So that, to me, sort of, I guess maybe what you'd call that a reverse pyramid scheme type of thing, as far as one person tells one and the other gets more people, and then it spreads, and then you got to hit critical mass at some point, but that's what I wanted to do with that, was to give an opportunity for people who may not be able to do that, or they don't know thing one about social media or anything, at least that they could learn from other people, and then they'd also have the benefit of campaigns. They could run things by each other, springboard think tank type of thing. And that's why I did it, but also, of course, to give an environment that didn't have any sort of drama or anything. We're just focused on putting out our books. You know what I mean? So that's what I wanted to do, was show that, and show that Ethan does have a point, but there are other ways to do it, because I don't necessarily have to be on Ethan's show, right? But if I have somebody who does go on Ethan's show, right? All I got to do is say, hey, man, shout me out. You know what I mean? And so I can be anywhere I want to be. But that comes from me, being in a band and doing PR and sales, selling CDs, $10 a pop, and just learning sales and marketing from the ground up, like just being a total novice. And so I just was thinking of different things, put flyers in trade mags at Barnes and Nobles, put them in all the Sunday papers in the classified or in the ad section on Sundays, just pay for one paper, open it, put them all in each newspaper, close it up, go to the next one, just all these different ways of thinking and doing things. So, I think that's another thing that Comics Aid allows us to do, is experiment, to try different methods until we find the one that hits the right algorithm, but yeah.
All right, guys, this has been an awesome conversation. I got to get going. I do have a few late night errands I got to run. I want to thank everybody for coming on. Thank everybody for showing up in the chat. Jason Black, Matthew Fowler, George Peter Gatsis, The Metal. There's a bunch of people I know. Demented for Fun. I know there's a bunch of people I'm missing. Thank you guys for showing up. Make sure you hit that like button on the way out. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Again, Cal and Alex, thank you guys for showing up. It was a great conversation. Vaughn and Mike, I'm glad they came on too. And I want everybody to have a good
shout
time.
out to Mike and Vaughn. Go and back them. They got some great stuff.
Yeah, and make sure you're back in Johnny's Law. Make sure you're back in Shinobi Sasquatch, and of course, make sure you're backing Oddity.
Oddity.
Talk about Oddity tonight.
Johnny's Law is just sign up pre-launch page on Indiegogo. So go watch the trailer and sign up for it because you will get yourself a free digital prequel, the 10-page digital prequel by Cesar Feliciano called Johnny's Law Ronin. It's going to be really good and exciting. And you also, of course, get all the updates and stuff. And there's probably going to be a secret perk and all that good stuff.
Cool.
Thanks a lot.
All right. Thanks, guys. You guys all have a good night.
You too, man. Thanks a lot for having me on.
Bye.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.